Hello, I'm MC2, the worst rapper in the world. Today I have with me a special guest from Facebook. His name is, I want to make sure I get this right, Santosh. Is that correct? Hello, welcome Santosh. And your last name, could you say that? I don't want to get it wrong. Okay. Well, good. Yeah, thank you. Glad to have you. So for people that don't know, there is a Flat Earth Society group on Facebook, and both of us are members of it. So if you're seeing any buffering, I'm gonna drop this off a little bit. Oh, I can't hear the guest. It was working before. Yeah, all right. So Santosh, they did not hear you. I'm going to check a couple things here just a second. I had, oh, there it is. All right. So they did not hear you. So welcome, Santosh.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can see you on the bars.
I did not hear you. So welcome, Santosh.
Great to be here.
We hear the echo too.
Yes, I can see you on the bars.
You have to turn off your mic or your YouTube there.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
So I got the sunglasses on too.
Awesome.
I've had Flat Out Hero on, who wears sunglasses the whole time.
Wow.
He's,
I don't know if I can do that.
I think that's to hide something.
Okay.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Okay.
What your how just person, not Flat Earth stuff, just things about you. Where'd you grow up or whatever?
Sure. I grew up in India. That's where I was born, in the southern part in Chennai. I speak Tamil, which is a very famous. It's one of the oldest languages in the world, actually. It's old as the Egyptian language, I believe.
I know one thing. Yeah. I know one thing in Tamil. Yeah. Vanakam.
Oh yeah. Yes, you got that.
That's it.
Very good.
It means
most important.
It means hello, right?
Yes, hello, welcome. It means a lot of things, and of course, the northern dialect would be more like Hindi. It's like Namaste, which a lot of people use as well.
Heard that, yep.
Yeah, and I am 34 years old. I grew up in the States for a while, which is why I don't have the usual thick Indian accent. Like, how may I help you, sir? Like Apu accent going on from The Simpsons. And what else? I'm into I do a lot of music, and my passion is doing also animation, cartooning, and things like that. And I do a little bit of acting as well. And I got married about 5 years ago. And this is actually my wife's hat. I just wanted to mention that. It's she just lets me use it once in a while.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, people, my wired connection had a problem. So I'm telling the audience here a little bit, and I'm doing this on Wi-Fi. So I dropped down my output. Hopefully, it's still not buffering. So.
Okay. It is buffering a bit on my end a lot.
Yeah. So I'll see what I can do by dropping it a little more. But anyway, so I thought I'd start with the super chats, because there's already a super chat from Santosh. Santosh sent a super chat that said, "Thanks for the kind invitation. Looking forward to this debate." So thanks a lot for that, Santosh.
No worries.
So we're going to do a somewhat structured without a moderator. We're going to take turns presenting our stuff. So Santosh, do you want to go first, or?
Sure, I can go first if you want.
Okay.
So yeah, basically, I'll give a little bit of intro to how I got into Flat Earth too, if that's okay. Like my Flat Earth story, a little bit. So you know my past. Well, I grew up with, of course, the same belief in the globe that we were taught since high school and everything. And I was a big fan of the movie 2001: Space Odyssey. And my brother and I followed it a lot, and we just pretty much worshipped NASA growing up, and we were very excited. And just it was only actually this year actually that I started to do a lot more research. I've always heard about the flat Earth, and I always thought it was kind of like a psyop to distract us away from the other truths that's going on. And I used to just laugh about it, and until I started doing my own research. Now, the first and foremost research I did was, of course, where did the I just wanted to see a photo of Earth. It was pretty simple. Now, this is where I got into a lot of issues, finding an actual photo, just plain simple photo of Earth. And I was starting to do my own research. I was like, well, like, what's going on? Like, why can't I find an actual photo? And then I came across this, the NASA.gov. I came across this gentleman here. His name is Robert Simon, and he's known as the. I'm just going to take this off for a minute. He's known as the data visualizer, and this really got me fascinated. This is where I think I started spiraling, and that's why this is going to be my first point, is why such a person has to exist in the first place. I mean, a photo of Earth, you would imagine, be very, very basic. Like anybody with a phone can just take a photo of the moon anytime they want. NASA, with this kind of budget, like I think, where is it, $20 billion a year budget or something? And plus, of course, we hear about them sending their probes to, Jupiter and Venus, or they have these things and going rovers in Mars and all that stuff. So so this is where I started to spiral. So Robert Simon, the lead data visualizer and information designer, and he basically says, "What do you like?" They have a Q&A here, and this is NASA.gov, by the way. This is not any conspiracy theory website or anything. And he's just basically saying, "My role is to make imagery from Earth sciences data. I turn data into pictures." That really got me really curious. Like, why would we need that? Like, you just take a photo, and it seems so simple. Because for years I used to think, I didn't even know about the Photoshop composite work going on at all. I just assumed that it was just a photo of Earth, and yeah, so that's very curious to me. And he adds really weird things. He says, he uses like a brush tool to add the oceans to match the people's expectations. And then, of course, in a live interview, I'm not sure if you heard this, he said, "It is Photoshop, but it has to be." And he basically says he just creates this flat map and then he wraps it around a ball.
So a quick question for clarification on that. How many, when he says it's Photoshop, it has to be, how many pictures was he referring to?
He was just referring to like the image of Earth. Basically, he creates like
every image of Earth, or was he referring to just one?
I believe it was just one.
Okay.
Basically, the blue marble. How he created the blue marble, which is found on the iPhone, and he was kind of bragging about it. Like it's basically everywhere, right? It's a very famous photo. And he said the last photo of an actual photo, well, he claims it was in 1972, during the the Apollo moon land, when the so-called moon landing, and then there's also footage that clearly reveals even that photo was faked. There was a documentary called "Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon," and in that, we could clearly see that they were using some kind of circular cutout, and they were kind of like, behind the scenes, they were like talking, over the camera, hey, just make it look like they were basically just on a, I don't know exactly where they were, but it was clearly not, they were not in outer space, but they were just sort of, circular window. And that's the last photo, apparently, according to NASA.gov itself. So it made me very curious because then I started to look at all the all the probes sent by the flybys to what you might call it, like Voyager 2, Voyager 1, 1977, Galileo, 1989. So during all these periods, there's no photo of Earth at all. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes around in 2000. What year is the blue model from? 2002. Yeah. So 2002 was the next photo, or not even a photo, actually. It's a data visualization using Photoshop, which he himself, has said. So this was, well, I guess maybe we'll start with this topic. Maybe you can also, like, maybe I'm talking too much. I just wanted to put what really set me spiraling into the flat Earth. It seems like a very basic photo to have, or not even photo, video. I mean, there should be tons of videos.
On the screen right now below me is blue marble from 1972.
Right.
I don't know if you can't see that on what's going, but you can see that on the YouTube stream.
Yeah, I can see it.
So, that one is the 1972, and I just happened to put that up. That was coincidental to your topic. I didn't know that, but I'm not sure what you mean when NASA says that that was the last picture, because there's certainly many other pictures of Earth from space since then. Many of them
I'm just reading
video.
Sorry, I just want to read exactly what's on the NASA.gov website, and it clearly says this is the question they asked. Ask Rob Simmons, like I said, the data visualizer. They ask, what is the coolest thing you've ever done as part of your job at Godford? And the last time anyone took a photograph from above low Earth orbit that showed an entire hemisphere, one side of a globe, was in 1972 during the Apollo 17, NASA's Earth Observing System, EOS. So that's what it says. I mean, this is their own website.
Could he have meant that that's the last picture taken by a human? Because that certainly was the last time a human was past low Earth orbit.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't mention that here, though.
Yeah, the wording is maybe a little unclear, because certainly NASA does not have that as their official stance. There's an awful lot of pictures and video from space since 1972. So NASA's official stance is absolutely not, that was the last one.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. So for example, here I have a video that's from, this is from Dish Network. So Dish Network, so hold on. Mandelbrot said is saying it could be a really old quote. And what was the name of the guy, Santosh? Is that
Robert
Simmons? Yeah, and that was a recent quote. So that's why I'm thinking that he probably was referring to people doing it. But anyway, so here is so Dish TV has a satellite dish that is in geosynchronous orbit above the equator, and it's what our satellite Dish TV points at when we're pointing our dishes up at TV. So if you're in Ottawa and you want to watch, like my neighbor is from the Punjab, and so they had installed a dish on their house so that they could watch TV from the Punjab. And that they had it all the time in their house. Whenever they were home, they were running that, even when they're not home, because we could see through the window that faced our house. So Dish TV had this right here, and so this is a video from Dish TV 2009, May of 2009, and you can just see, this is Earth video. It was a live stream. There was a channel that you could tune to on Dish TV.
Okay.
So,
so could I see the video? Okay, you're playing the video now. Okay.
Yeah, it's not real time. I'll put it in the live chat too. But it's sped up faster than real time. It's still not really fast, and so I could, I could do playback speed 2x. Because if you're really watching the Earth spin, it's pretty stinking slow. It takes a whole 24 hours to rotate once. So there you go. You can kind of see the shadow coming back across. So since it's
so
in you go ahead.
Sorry. No, so you're claiming that this is real. This video that you're showing me right now that has no stars in the background at all.
Correct.
And no satellites passing by or anything.
No,
even like,
so
and the sun appears to just like, it doesn't. I'm sorry, but as a man who's done a lot of multimedia work, it looks very fake, to be honest. I mean, I'm being perfectly honest, and even the way. I mean, I guess that's supposed to be the sunlight that's going or over it. And also, I wanted to add another thing. I have seen footage, so-called footage of Earth, that looks totally different from what you're showing me right now.
Yeah. So
and the Himawari stuff.
Sure. If you've done, so if you've done multimedia work, you're maybe aware of photography and Ansel Adams' work. Did you study any of that in your photography? Where he talks about, you would know where he talked at length about camera stops and what you can do for exposure. So when you expose a picture, that's when you take a picture. You get about 3 stops. You get your current stop and 1 up, 1 down, and then there's 10 stops. And if you've not read on that, it doesn't probably make sense. There's a book called Understanding Exposure by Brian Peterson. Very good book if anybody's interested in photography. And getting the correct exposure is difficult to do. You can see in this picture here how the Earth is washed out, except right on the terminator line. That's because it's overexposed. There, Justin Frank says he has that book. So you cannot properly expose for things at extremely different stop levels at the same time. So you would not see stars. If you did see stars, that's how you know it was fake, because the stars are way too dim to be exposed at the same stop as the rest of the Earth here. So that's how you know it's fake, in fact, is if the stars are super obvious. So like the intro to the Star Trek TV shows, that's they're not claiming that's real, but that the stars make it look like our imagination says it might be, and our eyes would see that because our eyes can deal with that differently than a camera can. So the stops, the stars you should not see, right? And so and a way to test this yourself is to go outside at night when you can see the moon, when it's maybe full or 3/4 full or something, and take a picture of the moon properly exposed. And you might have to adjust the exposure on your phone or your camera to do that, and then look, are there stars? And remember, were there stars when you took the picture or not? You're not going to see the stars. So you can test it yourself. So now you said something about you don't see the light passing by. What do you mean by that?
The light, well, it just seems the sunlight looks. I mean, I've seen a lot of Stanley Kubrick's work, in the 2001: Space Odyssey, and it almost feels like something. It looks like it was something made in the studio. I'm being perfectly honest, because one, as you said, okay, maybe it's supposed to be spinning at 1,000 miles per hour or something, and maybe it's
spinning is rotation. Rotation is measured in angles. So it's
and the clouds are not moving either, I believe.
And how quickly do you think clouds should move at this scale? Right, you're seeing the entire Earth, right?
Well, I've put some time-lapse footage of clouds, like just with my own camera, and I just leave the camera on for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. And then, I just, put it on my editing software and just sort of speed it up, and I can see the clouds move.
Yeah, but you're at a completely different scale when you're sitting under the clouds. You don't see many of the clouds, right? So if the cloud above you moves 10 miles, well, on this particular image here, that's 1 pixel, or a very small number of pixels. So it doesn't it's not something you'd expect to see moving very quickly. So, but we can in this image, we can, you know, and if somebody's going to fake it, wouldn't they fake it the right way? So, let's see if we can.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. If you look here, let's find. So this is over the course of maybe 6 hours total is what I'm going to be clicking between.
Yeah.
On the upper left here, there's this kind of fish hook looking thing, right? And I'm going to jump to the next one.
Yeah.
And it's a different shape slightly, right? So they're moving, and they're moving about as much as I think we should expect.
The thing is, the clouds seem to be moving slower than the sunlight, which is very odd for me.
I think that's completely accurate.
I don't think so, because, like I said, like maybe there are different layers of clouds, as you said. Maybe I mean that's to debate. But don't you think the top layer of clouds would be moving relatively the same speed as whatever clouds we see here? Like, or like are they like going slow? I don't see how the sunlight can move faster, or seem to move faster than the clouds. That for me that doesn't that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't think it's maybe that intuitive. But there's nothing about the cloud movement that seems wrong to anybody else.
Well,
right?
That's open for debate, right? That's why we're here discussing this, and that's why flat Earth movement is actually growing stronger. And I mean, some people will have you believe that it's not, but there's a lot of censorship going on. But I don't want to get into that too much right here. But yeah, so there is a doubt, an element of doubt that's creeping up. Like a year ago, if you had asked me these exact same questions, I would have told you hands down that you were absolutely right, and I would say, hey, I'm just like, you know, imagining things. But you show me this, and then on top of that, you have this guy Robert Simmons going, you know, the last photo of Earth was 1972. He doesn't, and you told me he meant it was because he meant like humans, but it doesn't say that in the article.
So did you then, you know, try to contact him? Because maybe we could contact him, right?
Yeah, that would be great. Like, I want him to put meaning to contact, because you understand this is on the NASA.gov website. Anybody can look this up. This is their official statement. Yeah, I mean, explain. I mean, what do you mean? Like, why did you say 1972? And this just opens up a whole can of worms. And nobody can tell for 100% fact that the Earth is flat or it's even a globe at this point, because it feels like there's a lot of contradictions going on. And I'm sure you would agree to a certain extent that, like you got it open now. And just, then why does he have to add the oceans himself? Oh, he says clearly like he added the oceans and the clouds.
So yeah, if you look at what the data source is that they started with, it's satellites that were scanning, and they're not meant to be for imagery, right? They're doing things at different levels, right? So they do things like infrared. They do things that are you know, different things that you don't want clouds when you're trying to look at some stuff. So you use wavelengths that don't see the clouds. So then you get all that data that you collected for some particular purpose, and you go, okay, we want to do a nice image of the Earth. So here you go, guys. Here's the data we have. We you know, so this was 2000 what 9 12
well
12.
Hold on, let me.
Yeah. So
yeah,
but no, it was 2007 was when they made that.
Yeah.
So let me say something here. Interrupt. So we had a super chat from John Rapp for 10 Australians. Says good day, MC Toon and all the viewers. So the sun is speeding up and moving in larger circles around the disk. Problem is, on a beautiful Sydney day, the sun is not moving faster, nor is it bigger. So I think he's referring to the the common map where the sun is doing circles around the North Pole. So we've got in chat here, we've got Green Bullion, who's also 33 UC. He's complaining because he's getting blocked. He's like, I'm a former guest, shouldn't be blocking me. I don't say anything out of hand. Just because you're a former guest doesn't give you a pass. But I give him a chance. If he turns into a, if he gets too stupid, time him out again, I guess. But
yeah, I understand.
Flat Earth Aussie Jesus is having fun. So, all right. So how about this? How about we try to contact Robert Simmons?
Okay.
And ask, I'm just tell you what, I'll see if he'll come on my show, and we'll see if he can clarify what he meant when he said no pictures since 1972 from space. Did he mean that?
Yeah.
Or was he talking about, as it's just conjecture, was he talking about people taking a picture? So how about that? I will contact him. So that'd be good. Was that just your intro, or was that like your first thing?
I guess it was everything. I guess it, well, that's my intro. Plus it was my first, my first thing, that like the footage and all this contradictory stuff going on. And another thing I wanted to show you was the photos. Again, I don't know how to share this on my screen. I don't know. How do you share something?
On the bottom, there's a if you move your cursor to the bottom, it says present now.
Oh, okay. Right. The Google Meets, right. Present now. Okay. Got it. Okay. Present entire screen. Okay. Awesome. So yeah, so again, like the more confusion, right? Like I'm gonna show you this. I'm opening it in pink, all things. So yeah, 4 different space agencies, and we got 4 different types of looking Earths here. Like we got the American Earth.
So I'm not seeing it yet.
Oh, you're not? Oh, okay. Hold on. Hold on. I think I need to share this. Hold on. Share. Okay, sorry about that. All right, can you see it now?
Yeah, we see. I see your window. Yeah, it looks like your whole computer.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay. So again, add to the confusion. These were all pretty much recent photos, and the American one, we got the Russian one, and we got the Japanese one, and then we got the Europe one. So yeah, they all look completely different. And disregard the meme. I just want you to focus on here.
Yep.
So yeah, that's so yeah. I saw the Himawari animation, and they claim that one is real too, which looks a little bit different from what you just showed me.
So now, I have in our chat. I'm seeing there. I'll switch it. There you go. Good. In our chat on Facebook, I see a picture of you that's got you're sitting in this room that you're in now, and it's got the Argentinian flag behind you. And I also see your avatar picture. And in that picture, your skin is much darker.
Oh, yeah.
Why is that? Different camera?
Wow.
Different lighting? Different distance from the camera?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you take a picture with a different camera from a different distance, you expect to see differences. So those 4 pictures, unless the camera was the same and the distance was the same and the exposure and the shutter time, the film, unless they're all the same, I'd expect every picture to be slightly different, and the more differences you have, I'd expect more differences in the pictures.
Right. So, but that being said, the Russian one in particular looks like it's a straight up cartoon.
And maybe it is. Did you look up? Did you go find the original image of that?
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, I can Google it. Try Googling it right now.
Okay, so
yeah, like that's what they're presenting.
So let me just give an example. People have said that they found on some of the images of Earth from the moon, they see here's the Earth, and it's got boxes and stuff around it, and they do some animations, right? Or not animations. They find some artifacts, and they're actually just JPEG artifacts. But the thing is that they didn't even start with the original image, but they're like, hey, this has been modified. I'm like, well, hold on a sec. Go to the original image, and you can find the original image from NASA, and that doesn't have it. So somebody, it's a second, third, fourth hand image that's been manipulated and compressed different times. Also, you don't know necessarily what they're claiming, right? So that the Russian one, I agree, looked a bit oversaturated in the coloring, right? And so was that claimed to be a photograph, or was it claimed to be like the 2007 Blue Marble, that it was a composite of some sort? Because we do know one thing. I think Russia doesn't have anything that's past low Earth orbit themselves lately. Maybe somebody in the chat can confirm if I'm correct on that, but
because I do know that the Russian cosmonauts, they go to the ISS and all that.
Yeah, and that's low orbit, so you can't get a single picture of the Earth from that distance.
Mm-hmm. So they need to but Russians have sent something. You can even look it up.
I don't keep track with their exact details. Scott Manley, he knows everything offhand.
Okay, the Soviets probes were sent. Phobos 1 and 2 were sent to Mars in 1988 to study. So they're on Mars. That's the official story. I don't believe any of it, of course. But, I mean, if you can send something to Mars, you can take a photo of Earth. You don't need to be presenting what clearly looks like a cartoon. I mean, I understand,
if you currently have something on Mars, you can't go take a picture of Earth from Mars, right? Really? It's not very good. So, hey, hold on. I see Rama Krishan S.
Rama Krishnan, yes, I want to mention him.
Is he a friend?
Yes, he's a very good friend of mine. Him and I discuss a lot.
I
met him
on Facebook.
Yeah, he's Tamil. Yeah, on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a Rama I know on Facebook that blocked me when I invited him on.
Oh.
I don't know if it's the same one. Wait, I'll find out. I have I get blocked on occasion. I try to be nice. I try to be nice.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, sometimes I'm not, but I
know.
Yeah, that's him. Rama, unblock me, dude. I invited you on my show, and he claimed everybody was fake on my show. So apparently, bad news for you, Santosh. You're not a real flat earther, according to Rama. Is it okay if I call him Rama? Is that a common nickname for?
I mean, you have to ask him. I don't. I just call him Ram.
Ram. Okay.
Ram is pretty. Yeah, Ram.
Okay.
Keeps it. But he's a great guy.
Well, Ram, if you want to unblock me and we can have a chat on Facebook, maybe you can come on in the future. So.
Yeah.
So his question was, he had a good question.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me find it again so I can read it correctly. If Nikon and Canon can calibrate their cameras so well, how do space agencies can't? Because they're not just regular old cameras. They have to work in a little more intense environment than the one that you're gonna have at home. So yeah, Mr. Victory, my feed is freezing up, but the voice is fine. So that is unfortunately, I'm having to do it today on Wi-Fi because my wired connection through the wall into the basement, I think, got clipped or something. I'm gonna try putting new ends on the Cat 5 cable. So QED is saying, Rama, hard to talk to someone when you block them. Why are you here then? So He says, Rama says I was lying. Oh my goodness, Rama, I was not. So anyway. Excuse me. So, all right. Well, I don't know if we're going to get too much progress on that. I think it would be nice to just look at the original pictures, and maybe we can come back to that we could find the actual original pictures. Some people are saying that it was included infrared. Don't know if that's true, but we certainly could. That'd be something to look into. It's always good to look up the origination of images, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what? I'm going to change something here. I'm going to send back a little less resolution to you to see if that fixes a little bit of my stuff here. So, all right. Well, if you don't mind, I'll give it a shot here. See, I got some evidence here. So,
Sure.
did you ever watch Eric Dubé's 200 proof?
Yes. Yeah.
So what? You know what? Okay.
Yeah.
So do you know what his claim number 2 is?
I mean, I don't know right off the bat, but I do know his number 1 claim is. I mean, the horizon always appears perfectly flat, 360 degrees,
Yep.
regardless of altitude over a 20+ mile high. And I actually have footage that I would love to share.
Well, maybe is that your second thing, or I'm going to stick with I have it. Number 2 is he says the horizon does not rise, or the horizon does rise to eye level no matter how high, and that's a great hypothesis.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's a measurable. It's falsifiable, right? You can test it, and it's in fact measurable. You can measure the dip of the horizon from true level. Right? Now he says eye level. The technical term is true level, that people use in both surveying and I believe in aircraft they use true level as well.
Mm-hmm.
So does that make sense? Do you agree with Dubé on that?
Yes, I do agree with Dubé on that. From what, I just go by the footage. I don't see, Eric Dubé said this or the science book said this. It seems to me, from the footage I've seen, no matter how high it goes, it does kind of rise to our eye level somehow, and which is what Eric Dubé said in the second point. And it always seems flat. Now, I don't know how that. I mean, visually, that's what it looks like, right? I can show you footage of that, and from they had this thing from this is one of my favorite videos. It's from 0 to 108,000 feet, and all throughout it seems the horizon does kind of just keep rising with us, and then it always seems flat till 108,000 feet. Okay. 108,000 feet.
All right. So, well, this is mine. Don't hijack it.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So it's testable. Yeah. That's the thing, and it's measurable. We can measure to see if it actually does rise to eye level. But just pointing a camera at the horizon doesn't do a whole lot because there's no calibration of that camera. Just how much is it supposed to drop, and how much is that camera dropping, and you can't just do that. You need a little more rigorous test on that. So there's a guy named Bobby Shafto, lives in San Diego area, and he does a whole lot of tests. He's very meticulous. He what he does is he has this 3 sticks test where he gets you've heard of that?
Yeah, I was actually just reading about that before we had the conversation here. Yeah.
So what he did is he has water. He has a long tube, and he has water coming up in 3 different stakes into the ground, and then water always seeks its own level, right? So they're all level, all 3 of them, and he has them at a big distance, and then he has 3 sticks and there's a piece of tape around each of them. So he has a long stick with a piece of tape, and they're all in the same spot, and he tapes it right next to it so the bottom of that tape is even with the top of the water at all 3 spots. And he does that because sighting water in a tube at distance is difficult to see, but the top of a stick is easy to see, right? From farther back, and you can sight right along them. So that's what he did. He sets them up. He gets his camera back from there, and then he sights along them. So here is, I have, he just came out with this third one today. So there we go. 3 sticks, and he did it at sunset, pointing towards, I think, Coronado Island. So here's the fly-in and the Hilltop Community Park. It's 246 meters high. All right, so you can see here the 3. Are you seeing what are you looking on the YouTube feed?
Yeah, I'm seeing. I'm looking at it on the YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. You can. So he's going along with the sticks there. There we go. I changed it so you see what I'm seeing here. And it may not come across too close, but I'll put the link in the description here, or sorry, in the chat, so people can look at their own leisure. Each of these you can verify that the bottom of the tape is even with the top of the water. And the cool thing is now it's happening during sunset, so you can get a real clear view of where the sun is setting. So it's not a question of whether or not we're seeing the real horizon, right? The sun is being obscured by the horizon. So here it's a little static. It's paused, I think, but then there he goes. He's adjusting the height of the camera, and you can see these sticks here. And in the background there, you can pretty clearly see the horizon. Right, and in a little bit, we'll see that the sun passes that horizon. So that's the true horizon. There's nothing beyond it. So there you go. The 3 lines across the top of the sticks there, and it's clearly above the horizon. Yeah, Alsum, I got that link. We got a little information on the Russian image, so we can maybe come back to that.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So you can see the sun, the entire sun is below the level of the sticks there. Yeah. It's below eye level. So not only is the horizon not rising to eye level, the sun is below eye level. So if the sun is high in the air, this isn't possible on a flat Earth, as far as I know, for the way physics works.
Well, then there's the way the perspectives work, right? Like everything converges.
Absolutely, so, everything converges, but it doesn't pass the convergence point.
Yeah.
So we can get back to that in a minute here.
Okay. Also, you do realize that if you zoom in with one of those cameras, you can actually bring the sun back up. Like, I mean, have you seen any of those footages?
I have never once seen that happen. That would be the first if you're able to provide that, because never once has anybody brought the sun back by zooming it in after it's set.
You're in luck today, because I do have that footage. I mean, I can share it with you.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'll try my best to look for it, because there's a lot of.
All right, so there's Bobby's one. Now, repeatability is important. Bobby is good at that. He did another, and I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but here you can see again Coronado Island in the background. the sticks are higher than Coronado Island, even though Coronado Island is higher than his current elevation. Right? So that I'll put in the chat here. A third one. This is from La Jolla, or the first time I went there, La Jolla.
Okay.
And this is one of his earliest ones, and it's I think it's just mostly his setup. But then you can see here the Carlsbad power plant, which is off in the distance, and that smokestack is higher than his current elevation, and so the curvature of the Earth perfectly explains that. One more, because Bobby is diligent. Here is a different setup. Let me show you the setup here. He has a 48-inch spirit level. He has leveled it, and then he put these flat plates on top of it. Right, and then he lines it up. You can see here they're not quite lined up yet. The rear plate is a little bit higher, and now he's moving it so that the front plate and rear plate are together.
Right.
And right there. And you can see, once again, Coronado Island is below eye level, even though the elevation of the top of Coronado Island is higher than the elevation he's at. So, once again, the horizon did not rise to eye level, and something distant that's higher than him in elevation is lower than eye level.
So, yeah, that's really cool. Thanks for presenting. Can I go now, or are you?
Well, so let me see.
Are you?
Yeah. So, no, I have a couple more things. Old navigation manuals.
Okay.
So 1766. This is a manual from 1766. They know, back then they knew there was a drop in the horizon. So here is, let's see, is this the correct, there it is on the right side. So here, this is a table of the depression or dip of the horizon or sea. So when you are 1 foot, on the left side is the elevation of the eye level above the sea. This is in feet. On the right side is the depression of the horizon in arc minutes and arc seconds. You know arc minutes and arc seconds are?
Yeah.
Okay, an arc minute is 1/60th of a degree, and arc second is 3,600th of a degree. So at 1 foot above, it's it's 57 arc seconds dip. But more importantly, at 100 feet elevation, it's 9 minutes 33 arc seconds. So back in 1766, they had documented this. They would use these then when they're doing their sightings from ships, so that when they're looking at things, they can adjust their elevation to get a more accurate reading. You can measure it with a theodolite. So here is a theodolite done by Jeff the Maine Surveyor, who is a fantastic YouTuber. If you're not subscribed to him, I highly recommend it. This is theodolite pointing straight ahead. 90 degrees would be 90 degrees off of zenith, which is straight up. Then he flips it around and flips the telescope. So you flip it this way and you flip the telescope around that way, and you get it coming the opposite direction. So any collimation errors are neutralized. That's why it says 270 degrees. Then he measures down, and so this is 8 arc minutes down. And he then has all of his books, all of his stuff. He did 10 measurements twice, so he has 20 measurements. And he measured a 7 minute 39 arc second dip in the horizon from that. Now he repeated that other times. You can look at that other times off on his channel. And then one more I will do, because I took this one myself. This is the Theodolite app on my iPhone that I used to take a picture. It measures it's the same thing as that theodolite that from the main surveyor uses. I had calibrated it the day before at the mouth of the Kenai River in near Anchorage, Alaska, so that it had you need to calibrate it so it knows your phone where true level is. You point it at the horizon and line up the crosshairs there. So here is in the plane 35,091 feet. The moon there is below true level, and the horizon is even farther below. The moon is about 1/2 of an angular degree, so about 30 arc seconds. So we can only estimate because I didn't measure down, but it's a few degrees down. It's between 2 and 3 degrees down, and the cool thing is we can calculate based on the claimed radius of the Earth to see if that matches, and it does in fact match. About a 3-degree dip is what you predict. So there's my evidence for the horizon does not rise to eye level when measured.
So, okay, I hear you. So basically, well, I kind of agree with the Ramakrishna. Left a very good comment. He said you are wasting time showing invalid experiments on eye level, because what Eric Dubay said in the second point, the point is that it's when the observer rises up that the horizon rises up with him. On a globe, there should be 0 such rising, and so that's why, like, all the stuff that you're showing.
Hold on a second. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Show your math. I need to see the math for the claim there should be 0. Right? How much at 35,000 feet should there be a dip? That can be calculated. So, what's the prediction?
Like I said, I'm more of a visual man. I don't know
but the claim is a measurable, testable, repeatable claim. There is an exact measurement that you can make. So you can't just say I'm a visual guy, because this is a claim that is a scientific claim that can be tested. And we're looking at the screen right now here where I did test it, and in fact it did not rise to eye level. So
but you're not rising though.
I was at 35,000 feet. And you can see it on the screen there. On the upper right, there's an up arrow. And the bar at the top, it has the GPS coordinates, 60 degrees north, 128 degrees west, and then 35,091 feet. So I was at 35,091 feet, and the horizon did not rise. So you can visually see it, and we can quantify its exact dip, like in the theodolite measurement that I did before, where it was 7 arc minutes dip. So Justin Franks is saying at 35,000 feet there should be a 3.36 degree drop. So, and this one here I did not get a measurement because you can see there's clouds. I can't actually quantify against the clouds. I need to see the actual horizon. So I have never once seen a measurement of the horizon rising to eye level. So Rama hasn't either, and I know he claimed it when he stood in front of a group of engineers in Bangalore, but he didn't show any measured dip.
Okay. So how does this actually prove the actual measurement of the globe? Like what you claim?
Well, nothing is proved. Science doesn't prove, it finds evidence, and when you have a good collection of evidence in supporting one thing and a lack of evidence supporting the contrary, then you get confidence that you've identified something, right? So I showed you a large number of measurements of the horizon not rising to eye level. That gives us a large amount of confidence that there is no that's not true, that the claim that Eric Dubay said is not true. Right? And Rama's saying it's too hazy. The moon, Rama, look at the moon. The moon is not too hazy. And I will actually let's see. I don't have that on my website right now. So anyway, so here's the challenge to you, Rama and Santosh. Find a measured horizon rising to eye level. Right? Not just a camera pointed at the horizon and saying, there it is. Because our eyes can't differentiate very well. A couple degrees, 3 degrees is stuff that our eyes just don't measure that well, right? So find a measurement. Bring a theodolite app that's been calibrated up in a plane, right? There's lots of them, actually. I only put this one in here, but I have, let's see here. People do this particular one all the time because it's pretty easy. Let's see, topics. People fly, every day.
Yeah.
So let's see. Here's another one from a different guy, D. Wolfman on YouTube, and here's somebody else. This one, 3.3 degree dip at 11,000 meters. That matches predictions. All right. So, I don't know. That's what I have for positive proof of the globe. Now, your first point was not positive evidence for flat Earth. So, maybe is your second one positive evidence for flat Earth?
You mean okay, sorry, my second argument, right? I thought I was still thinking.
Well, unless you want to comment on this anymore, if you have any counters.
Like I said, I'm not a big mathematical guy. I just see visual, and when I see like footage of from 0 to 108,000 feet, and it still looks completely flat. There's no curvature.
But that wasn't my topic here.
Yeah. I totally get it. Maybe we can move to the next topic. I'm wondering. I mean, you said why is like, for example, like I saw this at an official place where they claim that they proved the curve by sending something up, and like from point zero, like just as soon as it launched, you can see the curve. And even when you go to like, I don't know, 100,000 feet, you see the same exact curve, which means that they're using a fisheye lens.
Yes, of course. So you wouldn't want a fisheye lens because it's a difficult thing to make a measurement from, unless you can quantify that lens. And of course, there's ways to do that technically, but it's tedious and people rarely do it. You could start out by putting just a simple checkerboard or a chessboard in front of the camera, and then you can quantify the distortion in the lens, but nobody does that. So yeah, that would not be valid. You need to use a rectilinear lens, right?
Yeah, there are footages of I've seen like where they just have a straight up lens.
Yeah, a rectilinear is the word you're looking for, and even those have distortions.
Maybe a little bit, like very, very slight if the camera moves. I mean, it goes concave and then maybe very, very subtle, but overall, it looks pretty darn flat. Unless, of course, you take the Red Bull jump into consideration, where it looks clearly manipulated, like it looks ridiculous.
Well, yeah, that's the outside images of that are wide angle lenses, so they're curved. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my main point that I'm getting at. Like, why not just show the horizon straight up? Why this fisheye stuff?
Because GoPro cameras are cheap and they're rugged, and a rectilinear lens is very expensive, and the more accurate it is, the more expensive it is. So if you're going to send up in a balloon, not Red Bull, that jump wasn't measuring the curve. That was a publicity stunt. It had nothing to do with the curve. So when you're putting up a camera to measure the curve, to test if it's curved or flat, then you definitely don't want to use a GoPro camera lens. Now, people have used GoPro cameras and swapped out for different lenses, or they've put in actual high quality camera with a good lens.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So, use them all the time. Why? Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have a something that's documented with a particular lens? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, I just wanted to share a link with you. I mean, I don't know if I should just put it on the chat or.
You can put it in the chat, and I can pull it up.
Okay, cool. Well, this is one of my favorite. Oh, oops! Remove any web address. Oh, that's weird.
Oh yeah, you won't put it in. Can you send it on Facebook? That won't get.
Oh yeah, I
there.
can.
Yeah, and I'll pop it in the chat.
Oh, cool, nice. And I also have that sun footage you were asking me for. Which one do you want to see first?
What's
the sun?
Let's go with the topic that we're on right now.
Oh sure, no worries.
Yeah.
No worries. Right, I'll save that one for. Yeah. So yeah, I just sent you the footage now. You've seen it. So this is what you would call a straight up lens with no curve in it.
Okay.
Now it goes from. It has a little cartoon in the
All
beginning.
right.
You can skip that. Yeah.
So I see a problem here. Do you see a problem?
Yeah.
What problem
do
you see here?
Which point?
This is at 0 feet, and there's a concave curve already.
Yeah, like I said, when the camera wobbles a little bit, it'll go concave, and then when it goes upward,
are you suggesting that wobbling is causing concavity?
Yeah, exactly. And but as you see, like
I've never heard of wobbling causing a distortion in a camera like that so aggressive. So in the chat we have Jason McCormick, who is a concave earther, who just said that's too concave.
He's an actual concave earther.
He is a concave earther, and he said that is too concave. So you have a concave earther seeing a concave Earth saying that's not good.
Yeah.
So
exactly how it camera angle.
So
but once the camera straightens out itself, it's straight. The horizon is completely flat.
Well, here's a curved horizon.
Yeah. So
are you sure you want to continue with this? Because so far we've seen in the two spots of this video a concave horizon and now a curved horizon, convex.
And then back to flat. I mean, did you see the line at the end? Like it's a perfect straight line.
Yeah,
and the camera.
But this lens is not a rectilinear lens. It is a wide-angle lens that has a lot of barrel distortion. So if you're going to use this, I'm just going to cherry pick individual pictures from it that support my thing. Jason's going to support. He's going to pick individual spots that support his. Right. You need to have a good lens. Right. So here is concave again. This is curving the wrong direction. Neither of us. This is neither of us.
Perfectly. But where's the globe though? Like I mean, you should see like the total globe by now at 108,000 feet. You'd expect.
Oh well,
right?
Can you support that claim? You said you're not a numbers guy, but you just made a numbers claim, right? You should see how much. How do you know how much you should see at this height? You didn't do the math. I know that you said you don't do that.
Well, I can just Google the numbers, right? The official number is, what's the official number to see the globe, the actual curve of the globe? What's the exact number? Because I see two.
I don't know what you're talking about there.
No, well, I see two arguments here. One is some people claim that they can see the curvature of the globe from their airplane, right? Is that true or not?
I've heard people say that, but looking at 35,000 feet, looking out a narrow window, you don't have enough field of view to really, with your own eyes, make that determination. Our eyes don't measure angles very well, right?
Yeah. So 108. Let's get back to this one. So at 100,000 feet, and the camera does pretty much a 365, rotation or whatever. and it looks completely flat. I don't see like a complete dip anywhere. Like you would expect that out of over 100,000 feet up in the air. Like you're nearing space by now, and yet you don't see anything like that.
Well,
that's what I'm trying to get back to.
But I see a concave Earth at this point, right?
Well, like I said, but I don't see a globe yet. That's
okay.
That's a more of an important argument right there. Let me. I'm just going to Google the exact. This is the actual at what height.
So he put a line across it here.
Yeah.
And it's still showing concave. Are you sure this guy isn't a concave earther?
He could be. I'm just going by the footage. I'm just going like you could see this and see flat Earth if you wanted. You could see it as a concave.
It's not a very good measurement, is it?
You can't see the
This is a crap measurement. I don't want to be mean, but this is not a good lens, right? And it's not supporting your claims. This line here that he put across it is showing concave, right? And people are saying it's not center frame, right? And so yeah, when you have a distorting lens, if you have something that is vertically centered and hopefully not rotated, then you get your best chance at having the least amount of distortions, right? And so this particular one isn't. It's not really helping.
Wait a minute, is this a?
I think it is helping.
And then my computer turns on.
Somebody had sent something. I'm gonna try to see if it's.
It's an MC Tune. It's not. I'm just reading some of the comments here.
Yeah. Flat Earth Jackal. He's claiming I'm stupid. So apparently.
That's not nice. Come on, guys. Let's make it nice.
So all right. So here is all right. This particular one, I don't know if at home do you guys need me to compress this to see if there's a I see it right here on the screen, right in the middle. There, it's the from the line up to where it kind of tapers off, versus on the left side where you can see that it's higher, and on the right side it's higher. So it's definitely looking concave at this point, not flat. Right, here's another spot where it's concave looking. So it looks to me like this lens is pretty troubling.
Well,
right. So now here.
Now you complain about my lens, but meanwhile, I'll show you the official footage that globe earthers, and this is the official footage that they use to prove the globe, and it's completely ridiculous. And if you want, I will share this link as well with you.
Sure.
This is the lens they use.
Yeah, send
from
it,
the get-go,
it's
ridiculous. Yeah, I sent it on Facebook. And
so is this? Is this? Here's the thing. Now, we're in the questioning whether or not the Earth is a sphere market,
yes,
right?
That's
but when people send rockets up, they don't give a damn, right? They don't care at all. So that's not what they're doing. So all right, hold on a second.
Yeah.
So when let's see. So the title of this is Giles Galactic iPhone Goes into Space. So if this is an iPhone, iPhones are actually pretty good with not having a whole lot of distortion.
Well, you'll see the footage.
Yeah.
I think you'll think a little bit different.
Oh yeah, here you can see right here. This is very much a wide angle. Yeah. So this isn't a good one. And so this isn't. What do you mean this is official? This is from Andrew Castley.
Oh yeah. I Googled it.
Yeah.
And this was actually in an article that they're trying to debunk flat Earth, and this is the link that I found on the top of Google page.
Yeah. Well, so it's a bit of a straw man. This isn't what I have used. I prefer Dwayne Kellum, who is
Okay.
to my knowledge, a flat earther. And this is his recent one. And this is what elevation are we at here? We got to find where. So right here, and so he has a and we can look at the particular camera he has. He has a Sony A7S II. He has a second camera, a GoPro, that's inset in the picture there. Let's see. Sony lens FE 50 millimeter. So it's a 50 millimeter Sony lens, which is what we're seeing. Now, if you compress this image or if you draw a straight edge across it, you can see that there is a curve. Right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. I don't like this one either, because this isn't a measurement. It's not very good, right? We don't have an external measure. We don't know exactly how this lens behaves, right? And there is professional photo editing software that has calibrated like a good collection of high-end lenses and cameras, and you can use this software to remove the distortions that they put in. When you take a picture of a building and there's the straight edges on the building, you don't want bowing in any way, right? So so they have and it's pretty expensive software actually, because it's difficult to calibrate all those lenses. So I don't like it because there's no external guide, right? Wouldn't you want to have some sort of a guide to look at to see to compare against, like like a straight edge, right? Would that be I don't know, would you like that?
Yeah, I mean,
And
like
then
I said,
compare the straight edge to the horizon.
Yeah. Sorry.
So then, like, maybe compare the straight edge to the horizon. Right. So you take something that is straight, right? A several foot long thing that's rigid and straight, and then you put it right up against the horizon, and then you do your best. Sorry, I'm a little burp here. Do your best to you get that horizon as close as you can. Then you can actually measure the distance from the horizon. So from the horizon to the straight edge, and even if there is distortion, it doesn't matter, because you can eliminate that distortion by just measuring the distance between the horizon and the straight edge. You can go across it, right? Would that be something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all up for testing whether it's
so
flat or...
here's a something that Rory did, another YouTuber who is he lives in an island in the Mediterranean. What the crap is it? Ibiza. He lives in Ibiza. This is from Ibiza at 609 feet elevation. And this is his setup. This isn't the measurement yet, but this is the setup where he has this straight edge. He has a table and two straight edges that are strapped together with zip ties on either side. And then he has them sitting wide on this table. And then he's propped rocks underneath the straight edges so that when he takes a picture, it's straight all the way across. Right. So here is then, and this doesn't show you much, but this is the actual photograph, and you can go to my website, and I'll put the link in the website, and you can see right here how he lined up the horizon between. So between, and now here's what you can do. Oh, he was vacationing in Ibiza, not living there, somebody's saying. So so you can see here the distance. I don't know if it's coming across well to you, but the distance between the straight edge and the horizon there in the middle, right? And then as we scroll to the right, we can see it's moving up, right? And you could count pixels to do this. And then he goes to this other side of the straight edges, and then again, and it's actually then curving down. So what you can do then, because this we don't see with our eyes very well, you could quantify that by counting pixels, put in a spreadsheet, and see if there's a curve. Or you could compress it, and you can test to see. Oh, it's pretty close there. right there. Is there a curve? And we can see right here that there is a curve. You can see across the bottom that the straight edge is straight. You can see across the top that the straight edge is straight. And so this eliminates questions about whether or not the camera was adding distortion or fisheye, right? And you can then go across here and you can see it continues to curve on this other side here. And again, you can see the straight edge is straight. Top or bottom, the top has a little bit, you can see on the right side there is a little bit arc up on the far right side, right? So that's where you're getting into the camera having some distortions. But it's but you can count the pixels between the horizon and the straight edge there. And so really the measurement is the distance between the straight edge and the horizon, not just what we visually see. The visually see is nice for you. You're being visual, right? So anyway, this is, I'll put it in the chat. You can go there. You can download the original images. The original images have GPS data and full EXIF information in there. So you can compare them for yourself. You can do your own compression. You can count your own pixels, top to right, top to bottom if you want. For anybody that wonders if there was something funny about the compression that was happening there. So
yeah,
if
so you're basically
interested.
squeezing and you're just sort of, it could be like artificially causing like a distortion by squeezing it. Right?
No, like I said, the compression is just to let us, because our eyes don't see it very well, it's to let us see it, to put everything close together. But the real measurement is if you were to count the pixels. And I've done that. I don't have it in a spreadsheet, but I have counted the pixels and measured the distance from the bottom of the straight edge to the horizon. You go across, and I do mean to do that. I just haven't had a chance to actually measure, put it into a spreadsheet, and then do a line fit to see what the shape actually is. So that is, I think, the best way to measure the horizon photographically to see if it curves. Now, this is at 609 feet. At higher altitude, it would be even better. So, and sometimes you see these people send up a balloon and they have like this stick in front of it, like this, and then they have like some plush animal or a garlic bread or some advertisement on it, right? They could do that and have a straight edge there. And then it'd be nice if they had a gimbal on the camera so it doesn't flop around all the time.
Oh, I know it's hard though.
It's expensive, and you're sitting there, and there's winds, and there's all sorts of stuff. So
yeah, but I mean, at the same time, like I've seen so-called official photos from NASA, and they show the live stream, and then you see like Florida is like half the size of the planet according to their curvature, right?
Well,
and then
if they're in the ISS, you mean?
Yeah, the ISS.
Yeah, well, it's close.
Very
right? So if you put a camera right up next to your nose, your nostril's going to be all that you see, and you won't even see your eyeball.
Right? Well, I'll just share a picture with you just real quick on Facebook. If
sure.
You'll see what I mean. Like this to me makes no sense at all. Yeah, so I just dropped one here. Yeah, I just dropped an image there. So yeah, for example, this picture makes no sense at all to me. And I've seen these kind of things being.
Let's see if I can.
Like that just looks ridiculous. And obviously,
hold on.
Obviously,
nobody can see it yet. Let me. It's actually kind of small. If you had a bigger image of it, but I'll show it. It doesn't matter.
Also, I'll share another one.
There you go. All right, so there it is. So yeah, so there's Florida, and is this from the ISS?
Yes, that's what I googled, and that's what I found.
Okay, so what's wrong with that?
Well, you tell me. Like, so basically, there's a block of space here. And Florida seems to be, I don't know, larger than the planet, whatever it is that they're trying to show here. And then there's this guy. like what isn't wrong with this image is what I'm trying to get. And look at the shape. Like, what is this? Is this a cone Earth now, or what is this? This is NASA. Like, I don't get this image at all. Like, are they distorting the thing so badly that they
well, I don't know what lens or camera this was taken with, right? So it could be they do have cameras with wide angles, and wide angle lens cameras always add that kind of distortion. They have to, otherwise
well,
they aren't wide angle. They aren't wide angle.
That word. They have to. Why do they have to?
Because that's how wide angle.
NASA?
That's how wide angle lenses work. When you take a wider angle of something that you're viewing, the things get distorted. That's how lenses work, right?
But NASA, I don't think they make an official disclaimer saying, "Hey, we're using a wide-angle lens, so that's why."
So NASA doesn't give a damn about whether or not you think the Earth is flat. They're not trying to prove it either way. They're trying to give a view of the Earth for the people that want to see a view of the Earth. So a wider angle is something that's a little nicer to view than something that's more narrow. That's why they do it. So they're under no obligation to do something that's measurable, right?
I mean, from a scientific point of view, I mean, if you have like this, I don't know, $55 million a day budget, and you have all this, like you claim you have like this ISS going on, and you've sent all kinds of stuff into like deep space, and this is the kind of image that you're showing. It looks very sloppy. Wouldn't you agree? Like,
not at all.
what am I looking at?
This isn't an image that is to convince somebody that the Earth is round or flat or not flat, because by the very fact that they have something orbiting the Earth is pretty good solid evidence, right? So that's why they're doing it. So, but of course you didn't
low orbit.
We don't know anything about the source of this image.
Right. What I think it is, it's actually low orbit. I mean, I'll give them credit. Maybe this is actually Florida or whatever. But it seems like it's low orbit, and it's been heavily distorted to show some kind of curvature. And this black, like, what is that? Like, is that supposed to be space there?
That would be space,
like,
yeah.
Is that outer space? That's outer space?
Of course, yeah.
How would that be outer space, though? That doesn't make sense. Like, how would Florida be this huge? And then that would be like, what, the edge of and the curvature of the entire planet? And there's space? Like,
I don't know why this is a problem for you. This looks perfectly fine for me.
I'm sorry, but I have to say no. It doesn't at all.
Okay, well then I would expect, if you're going to make that kind of claim, that you have some sort of, quantified thing specifying what it is. Just saying that's not what I expect isn't really all that valuable, right? Yeah. I'd figure you're gonna come up with, well, at this elevation, at this focal length, at this particular type of lens, and the Earth having this radius, this is what we should see. But you're not doing that. But
that's okay. Let's just say that's from the ISS, right? That looks very familiar to the one, your intro, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's from the ISS. So the ISS, how far is the ISS from Earth? Like, Earth, just gonna...
Alexa, how high is the ISS?
What can I see from the ISS? Height from Earth.
My echo.
So 408 kilometers.
Yep.
So kilometers.
So from that distance, what should Florida look like? So that can be quantified. So if you're going to make a claim that this is wrong, then bring along your quantified claim about what it should be looking like.
Well, I mean, how much is 408 kilometers in feet? I think it says something weird here. Well, the other footage I showed you was to like 108,000 feet, right?
Yeah,
and
this is significantly higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had problems with that footage, but then you say this is like, and this is NASA, by the way, not just some amateur balloon.
Are you
or,
sure this
know.
is NASA? You didn't actually give the source of this image, right? This
Oh,
is
sure, I can.
and this is a low quality small image, right? And like I said earlier, we should always try to go to the source. So wherever you got this from isn't the original, and I always try to go to the original when I can.
Yeah.
So and all of the evidence that I've brought up, as much as I can, I go to the original, right? That the picture that's on the screen right now of the blue marble from 1972 is a 4,000 by 4,000 image, pixel image, right? I got the high quality original.
So yeah, I saw, like, if you just Google ISS live stream YouTube, you see it right away. Like they have their, and it looks pretty much the conical. Oh, I'll even take a screenshot of that. It's just, I mean, you're not winning any arguments with this kind of footage. I mean, NASA is doing a very bad job.
But they don't care to convince you that the Earth is a globe. None of what they do is about that. They don't give a damn about your opinion about the Earth. They don't care at all. They're busy doing their job.
Their worldview, though, it's the globe that's their worldview. That's what you're.
But if they actually really have people in space, does it matter if you think the Earth is flat? Really? If they actually really have people in space, does it matter to them if you think the Earth is flat? No, because none of them get up every day and scratch their head and say, I wonder if me flying around in the ISS right now is really in space or not. It's not a question for them. Right? They don't care.
Well,
they don't care about your opinion because they're actually in space. There's no prove it to me. They're in space. Right? That's why that's what they don't care to do things to convince you. Right? And of course, you said, why don't they show video from space? I showed video from space. Done, right? No, you still lean on your incredulity. I don't believe it. I don't want to believe it. Therefore, it's not true. But you asked for video from space. I gave you video from space, and you're just like, I don't like it. So NASA doesn't give a damn, because what are you gonna do? You're gonna, no matter what they put up, you're gonna say fake, right? Without real evidence. And that's the key, right? You say this picture of Florida doesn't look right to me, but you didn't bring what it should look like. So bring what it should look like, and we'll put them side by side, and then we'll compare, right? And you can go through how it is that you calculated how it should look like.
But I just showed you the footage of from 0 to 108,000 feet. I don't see any curvature that NASA is showing me, and obviously it looks. And sorry, I just wanted to interject. Ramakrishna just left this comment. He said, if NASA used wide-angle lens, then the shown curvature must be wrong too.
Absolutely. The amount of curvature is magnified when it's above center frame and reduced when it's below center frame. And again,
Ramakrishna also added,
they don't care.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Ramakrishna also added, NASA not caring is irrelevant. Their photos are looking fake. So fake is, which I agree. Like, if you're going to be the National Space Agency taking everybody's money, tax money, and getting all the other space agencies involved with it, like the Indian Space Agency or the Japanese, and they all seem to be in on it.
All right. So since you didn't do your work, hold on. Now you've heard flat earthers say, do your own research, right? It's what everybody says. Mm-hmm. So here is, thanks to GeistView, we have the original image. Right? There you go. That's the original image of it. We've got the focal length, 20 millimeter. That's a wide angle lens. Nikon D5 digital camera with a 20 millimeter lens, right? It was in March of this year. You can download the original size of 5,000 by 3,000 pixels. And if Rama thinks it looks fake, or anybody thinks it looks fake, I would encourage them to download the original and provide the detailed forensics analysis showing that it's fake. right? But lacking actual evidence that it's fake, I'm going to say the same thing every time. What can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. You say it's fake, you provide no evidence, your claim of fake is ignored. Right? So I'll put this in the chat. Geistvy already did. And so you or Rama or whoever else could go download the original image, and you could bring it into some forensic analysis and have a look and see if you can find any evidence of tampering. Right?
Well, to me, I'm still on the same boat. Like, regardless of
and
how you tried to explain that to me right now, I just go with common sense. You can be able to see the space, and it clearly looks like they're using heavy wide-angle lens or fisheye or whatever. I don't know.
Right on the screen, it says that is a 20 millimeter lens. That is a wide-angle lens. That is definitely adding curve. No question about it.
Adding curve. Why are they adding curve, though?
Because that's how 20 millimeter lenses work. It's just it's the nature of optics.
I mean, you'd think they would have something that they didn't have to do that.
You'd think that they had a lens that violated the laws of physics. No,
just show a straight up globe. I mean, just show us straight up. Like, why do you need to? Why does this have to be the proof? A lot of people will look at this. The common average Joe will look at this and just say, "Hey, is that the curvature of the globe?" Don't you think so? The common Joe will ask that.
Yeah. Well, here you go, common Joe. This image here.
Yeah.
What do you? This is taken on a Hasselblad camera with 80 millimeter analog film, and then developed in a darkroom. Right, and this image, you can go get and look at in the archives. Right, this particular image was scanned by a group of people that went to the original photos, scanned them in, and posted all 15,000 of them on Flickr. Right, so anybody that wants to can look at these on Flickr and see if there's any obvious CGI or tampering or anything, or you can go yourself to the archives and look at them yourselves. Right, that's the cool thing about it. And I've presented this many times to people, and they're like, looks fake, and every time it's the same thing. How is it fake? What is fake about it? Did you do any analysis of it? Now you can see here, this is the low res image, but the cool thing, you can download the original 4,000 by 4,000 pixel image. Right, and it's coming down now. It's big. But I'll put it up on the screen here in a second, as soon as it finishes downloading. Right, and like I said, you, Rama, anybody that thinks it's fake is invited to go to the archives and have a look, and then provide evidence that it's fake. Just saying it's fake doesn't mean it's fake. So here we go.
There is an official image that they released, and I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but it has a certain word in it, and
I've seen that, and to the best of my knowledge, that particular one is part of the 2007 Blue Marble, which we know, there's no question about it, it was a composite.
So how is this not the Blue Marble as well? What makes this one so real?
Because they didn't name it Blue Marble. It's just so when they did the one from 1972, there was a reason why they chose that over this one, right? This one, the entire Earth isn't illuminated. It's not well centered. There's lots of images. They took tons and tons of images. So when they're like, all right, so here, let's have the one that's our preferred image of the Earth from space. And so then they went through and they picked. They maybe had a group of people, a whole collection of them, talking about which one they liked. And somebody maybe was disappointed because they had a different picture that they wanted. Don't know. That's all speculation. But there's 15,000 images in this catalog. Just there's more than this. but there's 15,000 in this catalog that this particular group went and digitized. And nobody yet has found any evidence that this is faked. So,
but again, it looks very close to the one that, you said, they wrote those words on it, and it looks almost pretty much identical to it. But you're saying this one's not fake, but the other one is fake.
Well, I would not say that other one is fake. I'd say it's a composite, which is different than fake.
What's the difference between composite and fake?
A composite is a collection. A composite is a collection of real images stitched together.
Stitched together, exactly. That's fake. You're stitching things together.
No.
So if I photoshopped a model, for example, a female model to look slimmer, that's fake, right? You agree that's fakery?
No, that is. Well, sorry. Yes, that is fakery, because right. You're intentionally changing the structure of it, right? But now, if you took very close pictures of that model, super close pictures of her, right? Way closer than she would want you to take pictures of her, and then stitched them together, still representing her accurate shape and dimensions, I would not say that's fake. I'd say that's a composite. Right? So now, if you've gone to a stadium, to a football game or some sort of a sports game, you're right, and you take your phone, right? And you do panorama, right? You do this thing with the panorama. That's stitching together a bunch of images. Is that fake? I mean, if you're going to call that fake, then fine, call it fake. But this particular image we're looking at is not. And so I like this one a lot better than the composites because it's a single frame picture taken on an analog camera. It's something that is just, I love analog cameras, and I hate thinking about trying to go back to them. I don't know if you ever you get the camera, you bring it in, you put your film in, you come back a couple days later to Target and the little kiosk thing, and you look at it, you're like, oh crap, all but 2 of these images are garbage. So,
but it's real though.
But it was, yeah. So why did that person take a picture of their nose? Thank you for wasting that picture. So.
And also I just wanted to add whatever Ramakrishna wanted to add. Neil deGrasse Tyson, with this pear-shaped Oblate spheroid. This looks like a perfect circle, right? Whatever happened to the? It's an Oblate spheroid pear-shaped.
All right. So can you there's quantity to that? Do you know the quantity?
I'm just going by the quote by a he seems to be the figurehead for astrophysics in the world, right?
Okay.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Well, he's certainly a popular guy. So what is the radius of the Earth?
6,378.1 kilometers.
Yeah. So it's actually a little more specific than that. There's a polar radius and an equatorial radius, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And let me get the exact. Let's see, I have notes, but dog. So WGS 84 has a specific pair of radiuses or radii. 6,371, but I'm looking for the exact number. If anybody has those, I just was looking them up today, but I didn't write it down somewhere. No, I do have it. Hold on. WGS 84. Oh, okay, I remember where I put it now. Maybe. Jason McCormick likes how I'm playing it easy. Well, I'll tell you, Santosh is a nice guy, so I don't need.
Yeah, I'm a new flat earther.
Yeah. But Rama, he doesn't seem very nice. He got all pissy at me. on Facebook and then blocked me. After I invited him to come on, like you're on today, he blocked me.
Yeah.
Aw.
I like this conversation. I just like I like having debates as much as I can.
All right, I got a WGS 84. That's not it. Darn it. Sorry, people. I can't find. All right. Here's the deal. The specific numbers don't matter. The equatorial radius is slightly different than the polar radius. And so when we're saying it's an oblate spheroid, the difference isn't a lot. There it is.
0.3.
Bruce's place there says, I'm going to take your word for it, Bruce. I'm not verifying this at this point. 6,378 kilometers versus 6,357 kilometers. About a 24 kilometer difference vertically versus horizontally. Now, in the actual 4,000 by 4,000 pixel image of the blue marble, I'm not going to do it now and I don't have it ready, but you can test that radius. Right? How many pixels different is that? It's not much. It's not much at all. Mm-hmm. And so the oblateness is very, very slight. So when you're looking at a circle of the Earth, like on the screen right now, the vertical radius versus the horizontal radius is not going to be different by any pixels at all. There's not enough pixels there. And again, our eyes don't see the differences very well, those types of differences. Our eyes aren't accurate measurement devices, right?
Well, the official difference is 0.3%.
Yes. So do you think that your eyes are skilled enough to see a 0.3% difference in the height versus the width of that circle?
Again, all these statements are, well, facts or whatever are being made by NASA, right? Like, Hold on. I asked
the question. Do you think that your eyes can tell the difference between of a 0.3%? Exactly. And in a small image, the number of pixel difference is 0. Right? So when Rama or anybody else says, how come we don't see this the Earth shaped like Neil deGrasse Tyson says it's shaped like, is because it's too small of a difference to see. Right?
Maybe Neil deGrasse should just say, "Hey, it's pretty much a sphere." He shouldn't be going like it's.
He did.
Pear-shaped. You know, he made it very clear. The Earth is pear-shaped.
Yeah. So he's a scientist, and you're not a scientist. You're a visual guy, and you've not done any of this math yourself. So a scientist, like myself, right?
I'm not the figurehead of astrophysics.
No. But here's the deal. Being a scientist, I speak technically, and when I'm speaking with other people in topics like that, about topics that are scientific, I'm more specific than if I'm talking to my family or to a kid who doesn't understand the difference, right? So I'm not going to say, right, I'm going to say it's 6,000 kilometers. I'm not going to say there's two different radiuses, and I'm not going to go down to the 10th of a kilometer, right? It depends on your audience. So when he was talking to whoever he was talking to, he decided that he's going to go rather technical and speak about the actual differences in the radii. Right? So Geistview is asking, do you know the rest of the Neil deGrasse Tyson quote?
I can look it up.
That might be a good idea.
Yeah.
Cherry picking quotes is sometimes a little dangerous for flat earthers.
Well, he said it, not me, you know.
Yeah, but you cherry picked it.
Maybe it's a little dangerous for Neil deGrasse Tyson because maybe he should be careful what he's saying, putting out there, because millions of people follow him. So here's the actual video, if anybody's interested.
Yeah, post that in
yeah, I'll put it in. I'll just send it to you by Facebook. Again, it just seems like there's a lot of room for doubt for anybody that's genuinely on what is it called, like a cat on the wall. Like who's on the fence, basically. There's a lot of room for doubt now in the globe believers and the globe
All right.
model.
Hold on. We'll
Wouldn't you?
we'll play Neil's thing here. We'll see how this goes.
Sure.
I hope that these people, 97,000 subscribers, don't tracks don't
To the astrophysicist,
have a
we
copyright
don't
on
really
it.
care much about sea level.
Don't.
Want
I
to be
hope not.
high,
Yeah,
you
be
measure your
careful with
distance
that.
from the center of the Earth.
From the very center of the Earth.
Is that
Or
different
maybe
from
I'll
the
just try to
center?
see the actual transcript.
I'm
of
trying
it.
to
Okay,
give it- I'm
the
trying
very
to give it
center of
emphasis.
the Earth. So you want to find the farthest.
All right, hold on. Yeah, ask that again, Santosh.
Right, no. How would you explain this to a child?
I would
Say,
not
for example,
explain it. I would not explain it the
Yeah.
same way that Neil is. But Neil isn't talking to a child. He's talking to an adult and an audience of adults. So the way that he would describe it to a child isn't not really relevant to this conversation because he's not talking to children. So right. So let's finish what he's saying here.
Flattens out. Gets wider in the middle. And so Earth, throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning. And it got a little wider at the equator than it does at the poles. So it's not actually a
Hope there's
sphere.
no copyright on
It's
that.
it's oblate. And officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
A little chubbier.
Yeah.
Chubby's a good word. It's like pear-shaped.
Yeah.
So, it turns out the pear-shapedness is bigger than the height of
I
Mount
can't hear
Everest
anything.
above sea.
Sorry. Yeah, you can't hear when I don't have the audio set up. So he's yeah, everybody else can, right?
They can.
Yeah. So sorry. He's saying he said it was oblate there, and he says it's slightly, what do you say? I'll repeat it as he says it.
Sea level.
How much
Wait.
higher is the tall mountain that you identified?
Oblate is a
whose name I
pretty
forget,
strong
probably
word to use.
In Peru, or is it Ecuador?
Ecuador.
Ecuador. How
So he's talking about the height of the highest mountain in Ecuador, which is Chimborazo. Right.
much higher, if you were on top of this mountain in Ecuador, how much higher than the Mount Everest would you be?
There's a 20,000-foot mountain in Ecuador,
So there's a 20,000-foot mountain in Ecuador.
which is right. Ecuador is like near the equator, hence
Oh, somebody said turn subtitles on. Good idea.
Yeah.
There we go.
Ecuador.
Oh, you're just not giving up.
I just love reading these comments.
That mountain is actually, the summit of that mountain is 1 1/3 miles higher away from Earth's center than the summit of Mount Everest.
Okay. Question number
But,
two.
but you got to know, let me just so you understand. We've been fed a lie our entire, I want to call it a lie. We've been fed.
It's a point of view thing, I think.
We've been fed Earth has been misrepresented to us by geologists. Because the globes that you buy, that you rub your fingers over and you feel the Himalayas and you feel the Rocky Mountains. No. No, okay? These mountains are puny compared to the size of the Earth. You would not know they were there. If you were truly that size, some big cosmic giant lumbering through space, coming upon the Earth, rubbing your hand on it, the depth of your, what do you call these things?
Your finger.
The fingerprint mark,
Mark.
the depth of that would be greater than the entire range of distance from the Marianas Trench in the bottom of the Pacific to the top of Mount Everest. Therefore, you would close your eyes, rub your finger, you would not know whether you are on ocean, valley, mountain, or hill.
Well, you might be wet or dry. You might be,
Well, by how much wet?
a little.
How? No.
Yes.
You wouldn't even notice it. You're not going to say, oh, I got to dry my hand. The depth
Yeah.
of the ocean doesn't measure up to the depth of your fingerprint. That's my point.
All right. So the depth of the mountain the depth of the ocean doesn't match the depth of your fingerprint, is what he's saying. So when people say, Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about a pear shape, how come we don't see pear shape? It's because the pear shapedness is so slight that you can't see it at all.
Then why mention it at all? I mean, and
Because
who's making
it's a
the
technical
calculations?
They've measured it. They've measured it very accurately,
Okay.
and they've known it's oblate for quite a while. And I'll post a. There's a book from 1906 called "A History of the Determination of the Figure of the Earth from Arc Measurements." All right, and I'll put the link to this entire book. It's out of copyright, so you can download it and read it all you want. In 1906, they knew it was oblate based on measurements. So go ahead, people, read that. Rama, maybe you want to look at that. Okay. So people are saying keep going to the end. So I'm going to play the rest of Neil's thing here.
Oh, people like it. That's good.
So we've been fed this misrepresentation of our own planet on the belief that, in fact, we have real surface features. But cosmically speaking, we're practically a perfect sphere.
So there you go. Cosmically speaking, we're practically a perfect sphere. So if you say pear-shaped, it's best to include the entire quote, not just some of the chat people. What's that?
Sorry?
Some of the people in the chat I'm just reading. So anyway, he says it's enough of a sphere that you can't tell, right? So it's a complete straw man or red herring to say, how come we don't see it oblate? Because the prediction is that it should not look oblate enough to even see because it's so slight. Yeah. All right. So, did you present both of your things?
Well, I mean, we could go on with a few more.
Oh yeah, you had a bringing the sun back after it's set.
Oh yeah.
So post that.
Sure.
So that's going to be good. People are asking about that.
Okay. So this is kind of similar to the whole ship. Well, this was the old statement, right? The ships. We knew the Earth was round because we could see the ship go around the curve or whatever nonsense. But that's all been debunked now, thanks to the Nikon 900 P900 camera, which brought the ships back. Now I want to go one step further and show you a footage of the sun coming back in a similar way using such camera. Of course, I don't think we quite have the zoom technology, but we are clearly seeing further than we are supposed to be seeing on a globe Earth, which curves, I think, 8 miles square or something, the exact number. So anyway, I'll share that clip with you real quick. So yeah, 8 miles per square inch curve. That's so. Yeah.
8 miles per square inch. You didn't even get the wrong formula right. All right, I will. I got this. I'll put it in the chat.
It's actually 8 inches per mile squared. Sorry.
Yes, and that is also not the correct formula for anything at all. I'm
just googling it right now.
Yeah, it's not the right formula, but we can get into that in a bit here. So all right, so here it is. 45 seconds. The sun setting and then zooming it back. So it's way above the horizon at this point. It's still above the horizon. We're halfway through the video. It didn't set.
But do you see the sun is slightly going up the more he zooms in? Just wait till the end. We'll see it more. Do you see what he's doing?
I see that what's happening is that the glare is getting bigger and smaller. All right, so that was not what you said you were going to do.
No, that's. I mean, I don't know what you mean by glare, but that looks like this. He's bringing back again. We don't quite have the. I mean, the average Joe doesn't quite have the technology to,
Okay.
Really go further than that. But that looks. I mean, especially towards the end, he literally brought the sun back.
He
is what I'm
no,
getting
here's
at.
what no. All right, let's review it again because that's oh my goodness.
There might be other footage too. That might
All right.
not be the best, but you get an idea.
So here, yeah, this is clearly not the best. So here we see the sun and a massive amount of glare. So when you're looking at the sun with the camera and you're not using a proper solar filter, you're not looking at the sun, you're looking at the glare of the sun. It's way, way bigger than it actually is. If you use a solar filter, you see the actual size of the sun, right? So
Okay,
the sun.
show me one with the solar.
Sure, I've got just that. So give me a second to pull it up. Let's see.
By the way, it seems like you always invent new terms like glare effect or super mirage when people could see that Chicago skyline, which is much further than we're supposed to see. It seems like globe believers keep bringing up new things, even when the footage is right there and what we present. Just putting it out there.
We're just describing things. It's a scientific question, and so we're using science to answer it. So let's see. I gotta find the particular one that I'm looking for here. Where did I put that? Oh, I have a website for it. That's where I put it. So I'll play this a little more and we can see. So the glare isn't a new word. This is a photography word that's been around for a long time.
Oh, I understand. That I get, but it seems like you're adding an excuse using glare. That's what I'm getting at.
No, not at all.
It clearly shows like the sun is going up.
No. All right. So here's the deal. So what's happening is when you zoom in, it changes the amount of light coming in through the aperture. Yeah, Cosmonaut 6. I'll get to that. Hold on. There it is. Oh, they're the wrong format. Cretan Bowl for 5 Canadian. You didn't even get the wrong formula right. For 5, yes, 8 inches per mile squared isn't the correct formula, and it was a lie when Samuel Rowbotham told it, because he's a liar and people have been believing it for 150 years. Let's see. So I took some images with my phone, showing glare and the effects of glare, and my phone takes them in HEIC format instead of JPEG or PNG. So I have to convert them right now because I didn't do it ahead of time. But here we go. So here we have a picture of a light. You see that? And now we
I
have.
don't see it on the.
Oh my goodness.
What's going on?
That's the wrong one. So, darn it. Hold on. I don't have that one in handy. Darn it! I did the wrong. I have two pictures that are the same without without the glare. So I went back later at the exact same spot, and I took a picture of it with the glare. So.
Oh.
Yeah, Geist View has a cool one. If people want to look at that, a 360-degree picture of the sun, a sunrise with the solar filter in 360 degrees. It doesn't work too well to YouTube here, so I'm not going to show that one. But what I will do is just a second, people. Oh, Rob. I got, there it is. Sunset and moonset. In, what was I saying? Sunset. Why can't I find it now? My goodness, people.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh yeah, guys, you said you click and move the screen on the video. So, and Rob, yes, hold on. So one problem is people do that particular people stop distracting me. I gotta quit. I'm trying to find something. So I put together a page. There it is. There it is. Sunset on. That's the wrong one. Darn it. Forget it. Forget it. We were talking about glare. The problem is with glare, it gets too big. And so when you put a proper solar filter on, you can see the correct size. So here's what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to look for. Found it. So when you put a solar filter on a camera, you can see the actual size of the sun. So that is exactly what happened here. In not this video. Darn it, that's Sean Hufford's. I think it's actually the debate. So Red's Rhetoric had a debate with somebody. So, oh yeah, that's what this one is. All right, but hold on.
Oh, what's this here?
What's what?
What's this video that you're on this channel?
That's, I think it's a pause of the debate. So that's not the one.
Okay. By the way, I shared with you another image. If you want to quickly pull that up, it's a photo of the Chicago skyline that was taken 37 miles away.
Yeah.
Or actually 57 miles away, I think. Get the actual measurement.
So now, if you're gonna do that, then we're gonna. Here's what I'm gonna do. So I'm warning you. You may not like this. I'm gonna use the correct formula to see if it's something that we should see.
Okay.
Right? And
you're the formula guy.
Right. So all right. So here's video. This is Red's Rhetoric. He took from his driveway a picture with his P1000 or P900 camera with a proper solar filter. He took a picture of the sun every 30 minutes from sunrise to sunset, right? With the solar filter on. So this is sunrise. And then you can see the size of the sun. And this is the same. This is full mechanical zoom. So I think it's a P900 because a P1000 at full mechanical zoom, the sun is too big. So Space Stig is asking a question. The answer is yes. Right, I'm gonna speed this up here a little bit. 2x. So the P900, the flat earther camera of choice with the solar filter in front of it, taking pictures of the sun every half an hour. You see the size isn't changing. Now, when you have no solar filter, you see the size changing drastically. So anytime you see a video that somebody posts that's saying, here, the size of the sun is changing, and there's no solar filter on it, they're being dishonest.
And you're saying this is more honest, this photo?
This is absolutely honest, because you're actually seeing the size of the sun when you do that, because it eliminates the glare. Right, so here it's getting down towards the horizon now. There's a power line or a tree in the way, another tree in the way. So there you go. Side by side, all day long, the sun did not change angular size. So anytime you see like that one that you had with all the glare on it, this one here, there's a whole bunch of glare. And so we're not seeing the size of the sun, right? So we're seeing here the glare of the sun. Now, when you zoom in, like he's about to do here, when you zoom in, it reduces, so here, they're zooming in, it reduces the amount of light coming into the sensor, so it reduces the glare. So this is not, as I thought you were going to do, the sun set and then being brought back. The sun is not set, it's up high. And if you had a solar filter on, you would see that it's up high, and none of what I think you're trying to say is happening here. Right?
Yeah,
So
well,
a solar filter costs less than $15 on Amazon. So anybody that can get a P1000 can put a solar filter on in front of it.
Oh yeah, but I still think that footage was great, because it did show some kind of like, it appeared almost like the sun had gone halfway down, but as he zoomed in, it clearly showed. In my opinion, it still showed, regardless of glare or whatever.
What do you mean
the
halfway
sun
down?
Was higher.
The sun, even by your claims, that's not even happening, right? At this point here, the sun is not on the horizon. The glare of the sun is not on the horizon. Right? It's still above the horizon. All of it, including the glare, is above the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or, unless you're seeing something different.
Brahma Krishna, I wanted to add this. The sun's size is governed by location, time, moisture in the atmosphere at that time viewing angle. It is impossible to derive any conclusion from that.
I would like Rama to quantify that claim, because
atmospheric lensing is not going to be eliminated by a solar filter.
That is correct. Yep, but atmospheric lensing is not a lensing like a magnifying glass. Atmospheric lensing is horizontally stacked, right? So it will cause things to be taller or shorter, right? Compressed or expanded, but it doesn't change the width of it because of how the atmosphere is stacked. Right?
Well, my theory, personal theory, is like I've seen the Nikon P900 whatever bring back ships that were completely gone, right? Like have you seen those footages? This is the proof they've used for
that's a good idea.
Centuries.
So
They've used it for centuries to prove like the ship goes around the curve of the Earth. But now, recently, with this new camera that everybody has access to, there's tons and tons of footage of the ships coming back as they zoom closer and closer. The sun is very.
If you had one, if you had the footage of that you just claimed that there's tons of, you would be the first to have it.
Yeah.
And so find it. But now here I'm doing a video here of Hold on a second here.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, my MC wife had poked in. All right, so here's a P900, and you can see. That zoom was quick. I love that. So look right here. Here is the P900 zoomed, right, part way, and you can see the percentage of that. Is it an oil rig that is visible, right? And now he's going to increase the zoom. The same percentage is visible, right? Now you can see here that there's over on the right. You can see the different structures, and
wow, look at that!
Yep.
Look at that beautiful shot.
Yep. And now this is cool. Then they switch to, it's a different day, unfortunately, of with the P1000. Right, it would have been nice to have a different day, but or the same day, side by side, but that's not what this person was doing. You gotta.
So the old claim, let's just say, has been debunked because of the
not at all.
Nikon. Oh, well, it has. I mean.
Well, then
people used to think, oh, it just went over the curve. You can't get it
then
back.
Provide the evidence. I've not seen it. So, all right. So this is the P1000.
I have videos that can prove it.
Yeah. Send me the link of the video where something has gone past the horizon and you can't see it anymore, and then increasing zoom brings it back. So that in fact this particular one is P1000 Coolpix. To the best of my knowledge, is a flat earther.
Look at that footage right there. It looks pretty much like it's gone, and they brought it back.
All right.
And if the camera zoom was even more powerful,
hold on
it
a
would
second.
bring it even more forward.
Hold on a second. Look at the right side there. You can't see that. All right. So I'm gonna jump back here. You can see those lights just above the water there, right? And now they zoom out. So by your claim, when they zoom out, those lights should be obscured completely because there's less zoom, right? But look, the lights are still there. You see that? The amount of zoom did not change the percentage that was visible.
I guess you're seeing something that I'm not seeing, because I'm seeing completely different. And
the percentage, so there is no more or less of that object visible. It's just bigger and smaller, right? Have you heard of the TV show Father Ted?
Father Ted?
Yeah, where
so.
Father Ted is talking to his younger friend who isn't very good with distance and perspective, and he says, "This is close," and holds up a plastic cow and points out the window and says, "Those are far." Right? So, all right, that's what's happening here. There is no more or less of this thing that is visible. Now, she's going to zoom out even more, right? There's a step back. The lights that are on the bottom there, right in the middle, are still visible, right? Out of focus.
Yeah.
Right? Now, farther out, the same percentage of that image is still visible. There isn't any more hidden or any less hidden at this point. Oh, they're asking, can I make it full screen? Yeah, let me see here. I think I can. I'll change this quick.
So, Ramakrishna wanted to add quickly, bringing back with zoom will happen only if the object is within the perspective horizon.
Yeah, Rama doesn't quite understand physics.
And there is a vanishing point when it comes to perspective, right? Because it is beyond the perspective horizon.
Yeah, so the vanishing point it doesn't vanish. You just can't make out detail. That's what happens with the resolution.
It's not going around the curve. I mean, for hundreds of years, they kept claiming going around the curve.
Yeah, but the thing is here, this particular thing, there's no more or less. That's so your claim that it's bringing it back is not supported, right? We can look on the right side. I'm sorry, people, I can't quite get it bigger. Maybe I can. No, it's not doing it. On the right side, there's a little extra tower over on the right side of it, and when we zoom in here, we can see that on the right side, you can still see that little bit there. The detail is missing when we zoom out, but when we zoom in, right, we can still see it at this point, right? Very faint, but you can still see it. It's not, and so when you zoom in, it's not bringing it back from the horizon. It's still there when it's zoomed out. It's just small. And the entire time, here's the problem, the legs of the platform are missing, completely missing. You don't see it. So this oil platform has legs. Where are the legs? Right? We don't see them.
I mean, you will see it, but unfortunately, the camera doesn't. We don't quite have the technology to go even further.
Your claims aren't being supported by this very video here, which is done by a flat earther, right? This person, she is a flat earther, right?
Yeah. For example,
at this point, we see the same amount of the image as when we zoom in. It's just smaller or bigger. And we can test that even more. There's another video with another where stills of it are. Let's see here. Is that it? That is it. So, all right. Dazza the cameraman, a guy down in Australia, I believe. Right? He's zooming in on distant ships here. Right? So here, we can pause it and we can see how much of that big ship in the middle is visible. The one on the left is, you can't see any of the hull, and on the right you can only see part of the hull. Right? And now on the left, you still can't see any of the hull. There's no hull visible. You zoom in more. Get out of here, advertisement. And the plain truth is saying we're looking at the aether band. Except that this particular image doesn't have a whole lot of compression or other distortion factors happening. And the real cool thing is the heights of things that are beyond the aether band, as the plain truth likes to say. The height of things does not change. The high things, right? Mountains and stuff in the background. This video doesn't show that. All right.
Well, the legs are invisible because the station is just beyond the perspective horizon.
Yeah. Perspective is something that Flat Earth Aussie Jesus doesn't quite understand, unfortunately.
Well, the same way a reporter mainstream used the word mirage when the Chicago skyline is 52 miles away. Should have been hidden by the 1,800 feet of curvature by your own calculations.
No,
but we could see.
Stop strawmanning me. That's not my own calculations. We'll get to that next, okay?
Okay.
All right, so here you go. A screenshot zoomed out of these two ships. So he's going to zoom in here, and he's going to compare the screenshot zoomed out and zoomed in to see if there's any particular, if the angular size or if the amount of hidden is different, and not. It's not. So here's, you can see on the top the zoomed in, and on the bottom the zoomed out. The amount of zoom didn't change anything at all. right? So now you have the your Chicago skyline. Do you have the picture and all the details of that picture handy?
Yeah, I'll get that for you.
Oh yeah, I see this one here. So now, if you don't have the viewer height, then we're not going to be able to make any claims about it, right? So do you have the viewer height?
The viewer height?
Yes, the viewer height is a critical part of the formula, right? So you're saying you made a claim about my formula for what should be hidden, and you don't know my formula for what should be hidden, right? So because you're gonna say 8 inches per mile squared, and like I said earlier, you didn't even get the wrong formula right. Right, because
I like how you put that.
Because that's not the right formula. 8 inches per mile squared is, first of all, a parabola, not a circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's close enough for specific measurements within a short distance, but the actual formula for what would be hidden, I just posted in chat. Do you see that? That's the correct formula. And if you want to look at it, I'll post it here so that you can use this particular website.
Okay, H is equal to R by cosine. Wow.
So, all right.
Well, with mathematics, you can prove anything, really.
No, not at all. This is the correct formula, right? So if you're gonna say how much should be hidden, right? Then you calculate how much should be hidden. If you're gonna claim, like flat earthers love to do, there's too much visible, I can see too far. That claim is a mathematical claim, right? Because you're saying it's too far. They then do the wrong formula and come up with the wrong answer. So here is the right formula, the right answer according to the globe, right? And if you don't understand it, that's fine, right? You'll have to accept no matter what because you don't understand any of the formulas, right? But if anybody does understand the geometry and the algebra of this, they can look at this and they can come up with a refutation of it if they think that it's wrong. I've not seen anybody do that yet. I've only seen people say 8 inches per mile squared. I like that, and I'm going to keep using it even though I've been told it's not right. I don't know why the other one is right anyway. So when you're looking at what's the drop, if you're looking at this image here, the drop is this straight line from C to N, and then down from N to Z. The N to Z, that's the drop, right? So when you're talking 8
So you're
inches,
using an online calculator there.
yeah, and this is using that particular formula that I posted to get the actual hidden amount. So when you're using 8 inches per mile squared, the line NZ, that's what that 8 inches per mile squared is calculating, right? But the correct amount of hidden is the line WZ on here, right? Very much different. Now this is not to scale at all, but you can see that the line A to B to W is the line of sight of the observer. You must have the observer's height. So in the image that you're showing here of the Chicago skyline from 57 miles away, what's the observer's height?
The observer's height. I'm just trying to find the exact information there.
Okay, so you could not possibly have done the math because you don't know the observer's height. You could not possibly know how much should be hidden because you don't know the observer's height. So you believed somebody's lie and you didn't verify it. You didn't do your own research. Right?
Okay,
and
so
Santosh has the same problem because Santosh's PowerPoint presentation that he sat in front of these engineers in Bangalore used this same formula, and it's the wrong formula. I don't know if he knows that it's wrong or not, but he does now. So Santosh, if you use it again, you're lying, because you now know that it's the wrong formula.
Well, I do know the Chicago skyline was 52 miles away, and the way that they tried to explain it off was not using anything that you said. They just said it's a super mirage or a superior mirage. That, I mean, the common perspective, I mean, the average Joe, that's how they explained it off. They didn't say anything about the observer's height. They just said, hey, it's just a mirage.
Okay,
and
so
that's the official explanation.
So you can't. There's no official. Who's the official? It was a news station. There's no official with a news station, right? So here's the deal. I mean, if you don't know the observer's height, you can never say we saw too far, because you don't know what should have been seen. Okay, 8 inches per mile squared is absolutely the wrong formula, and it absolutely needs to have the observer's height. Okay, so you don't know it. So you don't even know that we are seeing too far at this point. But here's a key thing. There's a couple things we can look at here. We can see that these buildings have been stretched, and we can see that the bottom of the buildings are missing. A lot of it is missing. Right? So there's a ton of optical effects happening as the plain truth says, the aether band. Absolutely. There's a ton of optical things happening. You can't deny that, right? So to say 8 inches per mile squared and then not take into account optical effects is disingenuous. Then to say, and this is the frosting on it, right? To say to use a non-refracted math of the wrong formula and then claim, well, the bottoms are hidden because of optical effects. I'm not going to use optical effects to predict how much should be hidden, but I am going to use optical effects to explain away why the bottoms are hidden. Sorry, you don't get it both ways. Now, you're not doing that. People do that, and YouTube videos do that. People do that on Facebook all the time. You're going to use optical effects? Use optical effects. If you're going to not use them, then what's the explanation for the bottom being missing? You can't use optical effects for that then. So, do you have any observations that are see too far observations where you do know the observer height?
Well, I know, of course, I'm like 5'11", right? And if I go to the ocean, I see a lot further than I'm really supposed to see, just from my own observation.
And you did the math on this?
No, I'm just going by my own observation.
Okay. It's a claim that can be tested using math. It's a mathematical claim. I see too far. That's a mathematical claim. So it needs to be, it's tested mathematically, right? So, and here's the thing. I every time that somebody has come up with a see too far picture, I plug it into this calculator, right? Every time. And you know what I find? It works. Sorry. Every time it works. There's no part that's there's no image that's too far. The Pic Finisterraeus, where they saw the mountains across from Spain, it works. They saw the right amount. John Vinci 4 says, "We love Fortnite." Thank you, Fortnite crowd. Glad you're here. I saw a couple other. Mr. Unclean Bro loves Fortnite too.
Flat Earth Aussie Jesus says, infrared has people seeing over 1,000 miles. That's a great point to add.
Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, please provide that. Light, yeah. Please support that claim, or I'll just ignore it. My email address is mctoon@mctoon.net, and you can.
Maybe he can supply the link right now.
And make sure you include the observer height, or I will not show it. Hey, LMFAO is he's fine. These Fortnite, I know some of these Fortnite crowd people. They're fine. So sorry, some of my mods are hiding people that they don't need to hide.
Wow. must say, it's hard to find the flat Earth videos on YouTube. I mean, Google has said like out loud, like they're going to censor.
I've
This
never
is
had
just an
trouble finding them.
unrelated maybe, but I don't see the why they need to censor if it's so obvious this glow.
So, well,
just your quick thought.
Here's the thing: if you're paying money to advertise, right? Do you want your advertisements going in front of just any video, or do you think that sometime you're like, you know what, I don't want my advertisement going in front of that video, right?
What's wrong with any video? I mean, it's you're getting more eyeballs, right? The point of advertising is you want to get as many eyeballs on your content as much.
Advertisers are paying money. They have preferences. They go to YouTube, they go to Google and say, look, I don't want my video in front of 9/11. I don't want my advertisement in front of a 9/11 conspiracy video. Absolutely forbidden. I'm going to walk away and not pay you any more advertiser money. No, I'm just giving you an example what an advertiser might
like
say.
People's lives. Yeah.
Well, but here's the deal. There's an awful lot of flat earthers that go on about claiming shootings are fake, claiming 9/11 is fake, claiming the astronauts did not die. And any of those people, you're sick. Owen Benjamin, you're disgusting. Makes me so angry. Would you say that? Think about this, Santosh. Would you say to somebody whose wife died, "Oh, your wife fake died. She's really alive." Can you imagine how hurtful that is to somebody to hear that kind of crap? Right?
Well, the astronauts, there is photographic evidence that they have survived and they're actually living under the same name.
Yes.
By the way.
All right. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. You're not going to make up that crap. You're not going to repeat that garbage that you did not personally verify. You did nothing. You're just repeating somebody's garbage. So you're not going to say that on my channel. You got that? Do you understand that, Santosh? You absolutely. I asked you, what would you think if somebody accused you of if your wife had died, right? 10 years later, someone's like, nah, she didn't die. She's fake died. What would you think if you're sitting there grieving your wife and some asshole comes up and starts saying that to you? What would you think? So it's sensitive. I mean, absolutely it's sensitive. So if somebody does that, no, absolutely not. Owen Benjamin, you're a piece of crap. If I find out that
somebody I know, okay, sorry, I don't mean to get too personal here, but if I find out somebody that I loved was still alive, I'd be happy, first of all. Like, wow, they're still alive? Oh my God, I want to see them.
That's not what they're claiming.
They're just claiming saying,
they're part of the faking.
My dad would,
so that's the deal is. So here's the deal. We got into this because of YouTube censoring. YouTube isn't censoring. People can still find stuff. They're just not. They don't want to promote it. They don't want to put advertisers in front of it because advertisers are saying no. We don't want that stuff in front of our ads in front of that stuff. We don't want an association at all.
How many Nikon P900 cameras have been sold since this whole argument started? Like, so just for example,
people have said that that's part of the deal. All right. So the plain truth. Please verify the distance you claimed 8 inches per mile squared is accurate. 8 inches per mile squared is not accurate. It's the wrong number. So I'm not going to verify that the distance is accurate. I'm going to verify it is inaccurate, right? And the math of it, if the plain truth, his name is Travis. If you think that the math is wrong, please forward the correct math. All right. I don't have an email from Flat Earth Aussie Jesus yet. So okay, sorry, so I got worked up there. That is a sensitive issue, and it bothers me a lot that
totally
people
understand.
would say that.
I have my own. No. I'm sorry I went there. I'm just saying why these conspiracies are starting in the first place. I'm not trying to say this is the fact. I mean, I'm just saying why it's happening. That's all.
All right. The plain truth says I said it was accurate up to a certain distance. It's accurate enough up to a certain distance. That's it. You're asking me to verify that. I don't need to mathematically verify that. If anything, I'm going to say it's not accurate. Throw it out. I don't want that number. or I don't want that
Ramakrishna
formula.
just said, like J. Tolan 1 has many 1,000-mile infrared footage in his channel. Let's just try to see that.
Oh, I love J. Tolan.
Oh, you do love him. Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Like here, I'll oh my goodness.
J. Tolan Media.
Let's see. I think this is the one here. No, that's not it.
So this infrared laser light is pretty accurate.
So the cool thing about infrared, when it comes to the P1000 camera, is so the P1000 camera suffers from some pretty bad chromatic aberration at high zoom. If you don't know what chromatic aberration is, that's why when you zoom in on like stars, they look so weird, because it when you refract things, different wavelengths refract a different amount, right? So when you have a strong index of refraction through a lens, different wavelengths refract a different amount, and it causes blurring, and it causes the light to come off differently at different parts of the image. So then more expensive lenses have things in them to correct for that chromatic aberration. The P1000 does not have that. It's not an expensive lens, and it's very high zoom. So those two things together gives you all this chromatic aberration. But when you zero in on a specific wavelength, it doesn't matter if it's infrared or if it's blue, right? If it's a very narrow wavelength, what you get is it removes the chromatic aberration, so you can get these pictures that would otherwise be very blurry. They get much more clear. So I'm going to get past the advertisements here. So the thing about J. Tolan is this where is it? Here it is. So you see that there. That's Mount San Jacinto in the background, and the problem is that it's the top 4,000 feet of it. The bottom. Oops, don't go away. The bottom 6,000 feet of the mountain are missing. That's why I like J. Tolan, because he was trying to make a point about this, and he totally missed the forest for the trees. That he just showed the curvature of the earth. There's 6,000 feet missing. So that's why I like J. Tolan. The other thing that he does is he misidentifies things in there. So I'm not going to get into them too much, because this isn't something you're bringing up. It's something that Rama is bringing up, and it gets into a pretty involved thing and a lot of analysis of it. But I've looked at them, and he's pointing to different things on the horizon. That he says is something, like he said that one particular thing is the Lake Superior, and I'm in Minnesota. I've been to Lake Superior. It's right next to me here, a bit north, and it wasn't Lake Superior, so too bad. So I have one thing that if you want to get into quick, I only provided one thing. So some of this is about, I'm going to do some triangle stuff here. So I think you're probably pretty good with triangles, right? This is 8th grade math, probably. And I don't know. Yeah. You said you grew up in the States here. So So just to like give a little primer on triangles. So if you had a triangle with sides 1, 1, and 1, what are the interior angles?
1, 1. No, you lost me. Sorry.
So the lengths of the sides are 1, 1, and 1.
Oh,
Don't Google it.
I'm sorry. I'm so bad at this.
Okay. Well, this is
What are
this
you
is
trying
a,
to prove?
well, this is a scientific topic. So triangles is pretty basic stuff that we, if you went through 8th grade and you passed 8th grade, you would have done this stuff. So anyway, it's 180 degrees is the number of degrees in a triangle, right? You remember that? At
180. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then so 180 divided by 3 is
180 divided by 3.
60.
60. Yeah.
Yeah, so 60 to 60. So, all right. A 3, 4, 5 triangle you're probably not going to get. That's a right triangle. But and my guess is that you're not going to know the law of sines, which we can use to I'm going to do this here, which we can use to calculate all of the sides of a triangle. Here is a book here. Find X. You've got 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, and then this book is F in exams. It's a funny book and it says here, somebody circled X, says here it is. The answer to that is actually 5. 5 centimeters is correct. You can use the law of sines to do that. So if you have almost any 3 parts of a triangle that you can calculate the rest of it, right? So, except for angle, side, side. But if you know any other of the 3 parts, and I'll pull up, let's see. Oops.
So what does this have to do with like flat Earth?
So all right, so I want to make sure that I cover a little bit for how to solve a triangle, because oh my gosh, there's so many ads on this page. So I have a triangle calculator here. I'll post it. People, turn on your ad blocker. I use a I have a incognito window, so my ad blocker doesn't run. But we can put in the 2 sides of a triangle. If we know that there's a 90-degree angle, then we can solve the triangle, right? So when we talk about perspective is something that we can calculate, and here it is. So we talked about this, right, where you have perspective and things go towards the middle, right? Remember that? So like when you're looking at distant objects, somebody's asking to be a mod. Sorry, John Vinci the Fourth. So things converge to the middle. Things below the middle converge up. Things above the middle converge down. They don't go past the middle. They just get smaller and smaller until we can't make out details anymore, right? That's how. And this was an image I took from a flat Earth something, right? So now here's the deal. We can test where the sun should be any time of the year, right? In fact, we have there's a website that gives the position of the sun, of the subsolar point, right? And so right now the sun is currently in the ocean there somewhere near Australia. That's the subsolar point. So if you're on a boat or an island there, you could look straight up and there'd be no shadow, right? And the particular I looked up for today, that is 15.8 degrees south of the equator, right? And so you're in Ottawa, right?
Yeah.
So in Ottawa, you're about 45 degrees north. That's where I am, in fact. So I took from the Ottawa airport, which was 44.68 degrees north. Right, so we can calculate the subsolar point for the sun in the middle of the night when it's the farthest away from you, right? And we can do that. We can apply that to the flat Earth map, right? So let me pull up a flat Earth map here. Right, and we're just gonna calculate perspective because perspective can be calculated. So people say perspective causes these things, and we can always calculate perspective. It's easy.
Well, perspective can't be calculated with the triangle formula.
Oh, absolutely it can. No, all right, hold on a second. Quit asking me to change my name, Team Skeptic. I do know John Vinci IV, but I'm not gonna make him a mod because I know him. So you're saying that we cannot calculate perspective with a triangle?
Yep.
Oh, well, okay. Well, then do present your evidence for why you can't do that.
I'm just sorry. I'm just doing a little bit of research on my end here. Sorry. I'll.
Well, all right. So you claimed that we cannot calculate perspective with triangles. So I'm just
Yeah.
I'm curious,
How can you
I'm
calculate
curious.
perspective with triangle anyway? Like, just simplify it for me. Like, instead of going into all the mathematical details, how do you calculate perspective with triangles? Basically.
Yeah. So if you're looking at a building, right, and you're and it's a tall building, you can't climb it up, climb up the building, or you don't want to, or you just want to figure out how high that building is, right? You can say, well, I know how far I am from the building, right? I can measure that easily. I can step it off, or I can use a tape measure, or I can do whatever, and I can see the building is 300 feet away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we can go back and we can measure the angle from the ground up to the bottom floor of the building up to the top of the building, right? Right, and if we measure that to be 45 degrees, now we know three parts of that triangle. We know the bottom of that triangle is 300 feet. We know there's a 90-degree turn at the edge of that building, and we know the angle. Right, so we can draw that out. And this is like I said, this is stuff we did. Oh, this pen is dead. This is stuff that we did in 8th grade. Oh my goodness, 8th grade math class. Here we go. You see that? We have 45-degree angle, 300 feet from the building, and then a right angle there. So without actually pulling out a triangle calculator, we can know the height of the building, right? Anybody in chat, you know the height of the building now? I'm waiting for anybody in chat to put that in. So you're 300 feet from the building, and it's a 45-degree angle up to the top of the building.
Again, how is this all proving like globe? Like, how or what are you trying to get at exactly?
There we go. D. Ross says 300. So, well, you said that you can't use triangles to calculate perspective, and then you asked me to show.
Perspective has a diminishing point, right? It's something you observe, and but you understand?
Absolutely, and we can calculate how far away things will be when they are within certain distances from each other, right? So the human eye has a certain ability to resolve detail, right?
Yeah.
And well, they don't vanish. What happens is you can't see detail, right? So if you have a car and there's a license plate, right? And when that license plate gets to the point of your ability to resolve the detail, you can no longer make out the letters of that license plate. You get farther away, you can't even make out the license plate different from the rest of the back of the car, and you just get this an averaging of the color. But it didn't disappear, right? The light is still getting to your eyes. You just can't resolve it. So you get a camera, you zoom in, now you can resolve it. Nothing disappeared, right? And you zoom in more, you can make out the letters now, not just the rectangle of the license plate. But that's not perspective. That's about angular resolution. But the perspective tells us how big it's going to be and where it's going to be. We can completely calculate that. And then we can apply any atmospheric effects that might happen, right? So when we're looking at that building that's 300 feet away, and we know there's a 45-degree angle, we know that that building is 300 feet tall because of triangulation, right? So once you do that triangulation, that's how you get the perspective, right? So if you say, all right, well, something is this far away and it's 10 feet tall, right? Now we can use triangles and we can calculate how big that can be, how many degrees of our perception that's going to cover, right? We can also calculate, we can say, well, this building is, or this telephone pole is 40 feet tall and it's 200 feet away. We can know exactly how many angles above the horizon it's going to appear using triangulation. It's the same thing, right? Does that make sense? This is just eighth grade math.
Yeah. So basically, using perspective, you're able to calculate and what distance and height and everything is,
yeah,
right?
how high the angular height above something, right? Because as it gets farther away, everything at that same distance has to fit into the same space, and there's more things at that distance from you because the sphere doubles in size, or the sphere increases by the square of the distance. So sorry, it gets. I don't want to get too technical on that, but anyway. So here's the deal: we can know based on how far something is away and how high something is, how far above the horizon it will be. Simple eighth grade.
Okay, so again, you're making assumption now about
what
the triangulation involves assumption about what we see, the eyes, what they can see.
Oh, please.
So there's some assumption there.
Please inform us then on the correct. What is the assumption that I'm making here? What's wrong about it?
Well, you're making the eyes. Involves the assumption about our eyes' periodicity.
Continue.
Periodicity.
I don't know what
like,
your
for
point
example,
is.
okay, I'm just going to brass tactics here, just very basic. Like, okay, you see something on like a vanishing point, right? It appears like a triangle, but in reality, it's still parallel. It's just your eyes are seeing it as if it's you're depending on your eyes.
Let's say it's not past the vanishing point. Let's say everything that we're looking at is within the vanishing point, right? So if you're looking at a telephone pole, for example, right?
Yes.
And it's not so far away that it's to the vanishing point. It's a plenty above the vanishing point. It's 5 degrees above the horizon tall still, right? Right. So where it's not to the vanishing point.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, and Mandelbrot is saying I should use geometry instead of triangulation. You're right. It is geometry. Yeah. We're using triangles, but there's other ways to do it as well. So, do you have any issues if we say that there's a 40-foot tall telephone pole and it's 1 mile away? Can we calculate the angular height of that phone pole above the horizon?
So there's a 40-foot tall telephone pole.
Yep.
And you're trying to calculate the height of it using the angular...
The angular height of it, yeah.
The angular height of it. Well, also the size of the... Ramakrishna just wanted to add this one. Like, the size of the eye determines how quickly it converges the perspective's view.
That is false. So if you have some proof of that, and I know you don't because Rama made that claim, then
Yeah.
go right ahead.
I'm just waiting. I'm sorry. I'm just
Okay.
also
So
taking a look at the comments as well.
So here's the thing. Unless Rama has evidence that different optical things will make things appear different places, I'm going to ignore that. Anyway, so here we have a triangle here, 40 to 40 there. We have 5,000. It's about a mile, right? And so now what we can do is we can solve for this angle in here, right? And we can use that triangle calculator I did. So this is easy stuff here, actually. And this is why I think flat earthers maybe get a bad rap, because let me put this up on the screen here. So I have these ads. My goodness. So we have side A 40, right? If you see this triangle, it's way too small, but there.
Yeah, 90 degrees angle.
Yeah. So we've got side A, which is the left vertical side, and you got side B, which is the bottom side there, and right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to calculate angle A, right there. Oops, I'll do 5,000. We can calculate angle A is 0.45 degrees, right? So just under half a degree is how high that that telephone pole is going to be above the horizon, right? You don't believe it? Anybody go ahead and do the math, test it out, right? And prove me wrong. Saying it doesn't work doesn't cut it. If you don't have evidence to support something, I'm going to dismiss it without evidence. So, fisheye lens shows how perspective convergence changes with size of eye. Yeah, the angular, yeah, whatever, Rama. Go ahead and prove this stuff wrong without just making empty claims, please. So, here's the deal. Now, what we can do, let me see if I don't really have anything there. So we can take and we can say, all right, we are at 45 degrees north latitude, right? So the distance from 45 degrees north latitude to the North Pole is 45 degrees, right? So we're going over. Oh, I should get that's what I was doing. I was gonna get a AE map up so that we can look at it. That's not it. There it is. There's a good AE map. All right, you see that? So we've got over there on the left side, we got the United States. We got 45 degrees from about where both of us live to the North Pole. And then we've got the North Pole down to the equator is 90 more degrees. And then from the equator down to where the sun is right now is about 15.8 degrees south of the equator. So this is all degrees. Degrees of latitude, right? And degrees of latitude on the Earth is 60 nautical miles. It's actually the definition of it initially. So we can add that up, and I actually did the exact from the airport in Ottawa, and that comes out to the airport in Ottawa to where the sun is in the middle of the night tonight is 9,028.8 nautical miles, which is 16,721.3 kilometers. Right? That's how far away the sun is, or the subsolar point of the sun, from where you live and where I live in the middle of the night. Okay? So now we can take that and we can plug that into our triangle calculator. So I'm going to do 16,721, and then how high is the sun on flat Earth? How high is the sun? Santosh.
I'm just going to go get the official measurement here. I don't want to make any mistakes.
Okay. Maybe Rama knows how high the sun is.
Well, that's the thing. I don't want to assume anything and then. Approximately 200,000 kilometers, I believe.
200,000
I mean, that's,
kilometers is how far the sun is above flat Earth?
I believe so.
200. That's new. Wow.
I'm just looking at the Wikipedia of the.
What Wikipedia are you looking at?
Oh, sorry.
The flat Earth Wikipedia?
Okay, 3,000 miles away from the surface of the sun. The sun is a revolving sphere.
There you go. 3,000 miles. And I've heard that before.
So,
I've heard 5,000. I've heard 40 by one guy.
yeah, that's the thing. There's no. Yeah.
And so 3,000 miles is I'm doing all this in kilometers. 4828.
So again, that's something that nobody really knows.
Well, triangular geometry can help us measure that. So here we have the triangle. Again, we've got.
But do you agree it's not?
Hold on.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. But by the globe standard, it's the official explanation by the globe is like 93 million.
Yes,
miles away.
That has been measured, but we're going with we're testing flat Earth at this point. So we've got 3,000 miles or 4828 kilometers, and then we've got the distance 16,721 kilometers. We can plug that into our triangle calculator, which is right here. Side A is 4828, and side B is 16,721. Right? We can calculate.
So you're going to prove. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt again, but you're going to prove that the sun is in fact 93 million miles away and not 3,000.
Oh no! I'm accepting all of the flat Earth assumptions, and we're just testing it, right? It's a hypothesis. We're testing the hypothesis.
But you're defending the globe now, right? That's what you're trying to do. The globe model.
No, I'm testing the flat Earth model right now, actually. Right, testing it. So we have.
Flat earthers don't even have a fixed number on the sun yet. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, there's no.
But geometry can measure that.
The globe has a fixed number right now. Like right now, the official is 93 million.
So if you prefer a different number, we can try that. But just a second, okay? I'm gonna test this one here to see if it works. Okay, I'm gonna put in these numbers. 4,828 kilometers, 16,721. We've got it there. We can calculate 16.1 degrees. All right, so we've got 16.1 degrees is how high the sun will be over flat Earth in the middle of the night as seen from the airport in Ottawa, Canada.
Okay.
Do you want to peek outside quick to see if it's about 16 degrees above the horizon?
Peek outside.
Hold on. I'll check outside myself as well. Hold on.
Sure.
I'm testing. Just checked. I got bad news. The sun was not visible. It was not only was it not 16 degrees above the horizon, it wasn't visible at all. So maybe that's the wrong number. Maybe 3,000 miles is wrong. Should we try a different number of miles above the horizon?
I'll try 93 million miles away.
This is a test of flat Earth, not.
No. It's okay. I mean, no, we've already told you. I mean, the flat earthers don't actually know the height of the sun.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm testing it. So let's say it's 1,000 kilometers above. Let's put it really low because clearly 16 degrees is too high, right? So let's see 1,000. If the sun is only 1,000 kilometers high, then the sun should be 3.4 degrees above the horizon. It wasn't above the horizon though, actually. Right?
Yeah.
And for reference, if you hold your pinky at arm's length, the width of your pinky is about 1 degree. of angular size. So if you had 3.4, about 3.5 of your pinky widths, that's how high the sun would be above the horizon as seen from Ottawa in the middle of the night when the sun is the farthest away. Something's not right. Hold on. Let's try 500 kilometers. So if 500 kilometers says 1.7, 1.7 degrees, so it's still 2 pinkies high above the horizon is how high. Now we're getting pretty small to say that the sun is only 500 kilometers high, right? That because all the other geometry doesn't work anymore, right? So here's the problem. When people say, let me do this here. First, Bubble Burster said flat earthers don't have a consensus on anything because they have no means to ascertain real results. Speculation is all they have, and I agree. I think that's the case. So when people say, I tried for a year to debunk flat earth, but I just couldn't do it, I hear that. I'm like, I tried for 3 seconds. I said it could never set. And that's what I just went through with you. It could never set. The sun could never set, because no matter how far away you think it is or how high it is, nothing works, right? Because if you lower that number so far that you actually get it to appear to touch the ground, because that it's within, half a degree or less than, or the angular resolution of our eye, it doesn't work because now the sun is so low that, it would be like right on top of us, and all the other geometry doesn't work, right? When it's on the equator and we're in Minnesota and it's the middle of the day, it would look tiny bit above the horizon instead of way up in the sky. It doesn't work. There's no way that the sun could set on flat earth. There's nothing. And I see some people in here, Flat Earth Aussie Jesus. I see Rama in here. I see the word of what's his name? Mind of God. This isn't complicated math. Oh, there, Flat Earth Jackal. This isn't complicated math, right? Any 8th grader can go through this. So I'm just trying to be honest here with you, Santosh. You're a nice guy. I really like you, and I think that if you had a little more math, you could have seen this when somebody said the Earth is flat. You said, oh, wait, the sun couldn't set. It's kind of that simple, right? So Flat Earth Jackal is in here.
Vanishing. The sun is vanishing. We're not really saying it ever sets. It's vanishing.
But there's no evidence to support that. I already went through. We saw the video of the size of the sun staying the same through the entire day, and then at the end of the day, half of it was obscured by the horizon. It didn't vanish. It got obscured.
Because it moved away.
It moved away. This is a technical thing. This is a scientific thing. Moved away doesn't. Yeah, sorry. The word of good. Sorry, no. I did not mean to mistake you. So Flat Earth Jackal is in here saying, prove the sun is 93 million miles away. No, Flat Earth Jackal. Hold on. That's a different topic, though. Flat Earth Jackal, Santosh, Rama. The point is, I'm testing the Flat Earth claims. You don't defend a failure of the Flat Earth claim by saying, prove something else. You need to show how your idea works. And if it doesn't work, fine. Take that idea, set it aside, come up with a different idea. Test it until you find something that works. All right? And if you can't find something that works, that deals with flat Earth, then you say, oh, the whole flat Earth thing maybe isn't right because nothing works. So there's no way that the sun could set, saying it goes away or saying perspective. We can test perspective. We can calculate perspective. I just did that.
How does something 93 million miles away set?
I just said that isn't the point. I will talk about that, absolutely. But we're talking about hold on. You need to have something that works. I just showed it cannot set at all. There's no way that it can set. And you don't have, and you're like, you don't have. You just have words that you don't quite understand the meanings behind to try to support that it sets. But you can't actually show that it sets because this is the scientific claim, something that we can calculate. right? So Flat Earth Jackal,
So,
Flat Earth Jackal in the chat. How could it set? Right?
like I said, we're not claiming. We don't know the exact height. We're being very honest here. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what. Here the thing is, there is no height for which it works. Right? I dropped it down in our calculation here to 500 kilometers. Right? It still doesn't set at 500 kilometers. It doesn't get close enough to the horizon. It's still 1.7 degrees above the horizon at 500 kilometers. Right? When we're at 50 kilometers, it's still 0.17 degrees above the horizon. Not even yet to our eye's angular resolution limit. Our eyes could still see the gap between the horizon and the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Now,
right?
You're going into like very obscure mathematics, and you're.
Oh, this is
this
is eighth grade math. There's nothing obscure about this. I have a kid in 10th grade right now. He can do this. This isn't obscure.
We've already told you that it's not proven. We don't even have a fixed height for this sun yet.
But you're making a claim. Any height of the sun doesn't work. There's no height of the sun that works for flat Earth.
Okay, does 93 million miles height of the sun work?
On a globe, it absolutely does, yes.
It absolutely does. Okay, so a total solar eclipse happens between a moon that's only like, I don't know, 230,000 kilometers away or whatever, and a 93 million mile away sun, and yet they perfectly coincide with each other during a total solar eclipse. It just magically happens.
They don't perfectly coincide.
Are you zero.
Are you unaware that they don't perfectly coincide?
They do. I mean, total solar eclipse. I mean, that's anybody.
What is the angular size of the sun? You claim. Hold on. Let's repeat your claim.
Please. Just answer this.
I want to make sure that I understand you. You're saying.
What are the odds of a total solar eclipse when a sun is 93 million miles away, 1 million times the size of Earth, by the way, and this is not speculation. This is the facts you're putting in
your question.
School high book. No, please. I've been very patient, but I really need to know this. What are the odds that a moon that's within our atmosphere, by the way?
It is.
NASA's come out.
Don't straw man that. Did you read that? Hold on. Did you read that paper?
Yeah, I read that paper actually. To be honest, it was the European Space Agency that came out with it.
Did you pay? Because it's behind a paywall. Did you read it?
What do you mean it's behind a paywall? I can Google it right now. The article. And
not
why should it be
the
behind
published?
a paywall?
The published. Hey, I disagree with that too. I'm not for paywalls for published papers like that. But did you read the article? If you did not read the article, you better be careful about making claims.
They found that the Earth's atmosphere extends to the moon. That's what they're saying. They're trying to have it both ways. Basically, they're saying that the moon's still
you did not read the paper. Okay, so you don't know what the paper was saying. You read
because it's behind a published wall. A paid wall,
and I did read it. I did read the.
Yeah, you paid for it?
I did not. Somebody else did.
Oh, so how much was it, by the way?
I think it was $8.
$8. So
it wasn't
the public has to pay. Everybody has to pay $8 to get this information, is what you're telling me. And this is huge, by the way. The moon being within the atmosphere.
The moon is not within the atmosphere. That's how I know you didn't read the paper. It's not within the atmosphere.
Van Halen belt, whatever you want to ask.
It is not within the bingo. It is not within the Van Allen radiation belt, by the way. So let me just cover what the paper actually says. It's talking about their Lyman alpha light. So Van Allen belt. So Lyman alpha light is the light that's emitted from hydrogen atoms when the electron goes from the beta orbit to the alpha orbit. And that's a particular frequency of light. And so from a far distance away, I think in one of the Lagrange points, they did some light analysis, some analysis of the light, and they found that there is hydrogen atoms, very few of them, that reached out to the distance of the moon. Right? And so that is not the atmosphere. It is parts of the atmosphere that have gotten out there. So it's like Team Skeptic said this: if you're giving a bath to your dog, and some of the water splashes out on your shoe, did you just take a bath? No, you got some water on your shoe. So that's a bit of a way to look at it. So
this is what's available in public, by the way, not paying the $8. Again, I don't know why they're charging $8. That makes no sense.
That's how journals make their money, right? And
what?
I understand.
No, you put ads if you must. No.
Well,
No, you don't get to
you
do
go
that.
tell them then. Fine. I don't agree with it either.
This is regarding the moon. The moon belongs to everybody. There's no paid wall for the moon information I want about the moon.
Yeah,
and
people spent
this
thousands of dollars to analyze it, and they
and everybody in the planet has to pay $8.
Yeah.
So everybody in Africa, in Europe, in India, whatever.
Were you going to read it? You weren't going to read it anyway.
I'm reading it right now. What's out in public, by the way. The moon flies through the Earth's atmosphere, says Igor Belyukin of Russia Space Research Institute, lead author of the paper presenting the results. So basically, they've thrown the whole, entering back into the atmosphere from the moon.
Yeah, you're not understanding.
They've thrown that out completely. And then they said, we were not aware of it until we dusted off observations made over 2 decades ago. By the way, this is stuff they discovered 2 decades ago that's suddenly coming out. Oh, maybe because people are waking up a little bit? So they're gonna. It's called damage control, is what it is.
Well, I don't see why they would even how this would be damage control. It's so silly.
Well, it's basically saying what the flat earthers or the Bible, I mean, if you ever care to read that once in a while, says about the moon and the sun being local and within the firmament. And by the way, the founder of NASA curiously has Psalms 19:1 on his gravestone. Anybody can look this up. Sorry, I don't mean to go too off topic, but this is what the founder of NASA.
Off topic. He's not the founder of NASA. He's not the founder of NASA. So get your facts straight there. He's not the founder of NASA.
He used to work for the Nazi Party, by the way.
Hold on a second. He's
not
the founder of NASA.
He is very involved with NASA.
You said,
okay? He's like the main
over and over again, you said he's the founder of NASA, and he's not.
Okay, I'll Google it right now. Who is the founder? Tell me.
I don't know, but it was
Edward, Eisenhower? This is a very important point here. Yeah. Was a German and later American aerospace
So who
engineer
was the
and
founder?
space architect.
Let's get this correct. Who was the founder of NASA? It's an organization of the government.
One of the most.
It's not like an it's not like a company that has a founder, but there is somebody that gets credit for it.
Important man in NASA.
Who gets credit? Who gets credit for being the founder of NASA? Please.
Eisenhower, the president. But it's one that's actually working. The president knows nothing about
you
claimed.
You claimed.
You agree that
Von Braun was the founder.
Okay, don't strawman me here.
You're the one that said it.
On this man's grave is 19. Don't please. I listen to all your stuff.
Yeah,
please just
that's
listen
fine.
To
I'm just
Psalm 19, chapter 1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament sheweth his handiwork. Is on his grave. Can you debunk that for me?
Absolutely.
No, you can't.
I absolutely can.
why would
Because
this
hold on,
very
you asked
rich man have that
you asked
idea?
me a question. I'll answer it. Give me a chance.
Why
Okay?
does he have that? Tell me.
So why?
Why does he have that? I have the Bible with me right here, right now.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch
You
right
think
over here.
I don't know
In
if
fact,
this is a spiritual war going on?
I have I do, and I think that
Why would you
you're on the
have
wrong
firmament?
side. Hold on.
Maybe somebody in the chat can hire me.
I have right
answer
here
me.
Strong's exhaustive concordance of the Bible. Right now, when you ask a native Hebrew speaker the word for firmament that it says in the Bible, what do they say?
Oh my God.
What does a native Hebrew speaker understand that word to be? Do you know what word it is in
Why don't
Hebrew?
we just stick to English here? What does it mean in English? The heavens or the sky, especially when regarded as a tangible thing.
It was written in Hebrew. That's why. So what was the word in Hebrew?
All right, let me look up that for you now.
Okay, you don't know. So it's Rekia. You speak to a native Hebrew speaker, you look at ancient Hebrew. Rekia
So,
means
what is it?
expanse.
okay, I got it right here. The firmament is the sky conceived as a solid dome. This is firmament meaning in Greek, by the way. According to Genesis, God created the firmament.
It was written in Hebrew.
And it's on this man's grave. Maybe he had a lot of guilt when he was living about all the lies.
But it was written in
Or maybe
Hebrew,
it was to escape the karma
Greek.
cycle. Oh, and by the way, the UN flag has the AE flat Earth map on it.
Yeah,
So the
unfortunately,
UN
that map
logo.
is extremely wrong. So
I'm just stating
all right.
facts here.
So here let's get back to the topic here. I calculated
Let's get back to
using
triangle.
perspective that there is no way that the sun could set over flat Earth. It could never actually get to the horizon with a number that's not ridiculous. You'd have to have it just a couple feet above the horizon to be above the Earth to ever appear to set. Right, 50 kilometers is too high. So I guess that's all I had to do with that. I've disproven the flat Earth conclusively there.
There was nothing to disprove. I mean, we ourselves don't know the actual working model. We're just going with what we observe.
Yeah, but as soon as you claim it's flat,
something.
there's a whole bunch of things that you gotta do. So now, do you know
Well,
what does NASA mean in Hebrew? Do you know that?
Deceiver?
Yeah.
Deceiver.
Did you just repeat some other flat earthers' claim? Because I spoke to two different native Hebrew speakers.
Really?
They both said to lift up. Both of them. NASA means to lift up. They're confused because it's generally not even a good. It's not a word they use much. But yeah, NASA means to lift up. So any flat earther video that says NASA means to deceive has never spoken with a native Hebrew speaker. So there's one Neriel, who is a friend of mine on Facebook, and then a guy.
However, the archaic verb. Hold on. I'm looking it really up. The verb NASA actually means to lift or carry. However, the archaic verb does mean to deceive.
No, your
So
pronunciation is
there's
wrong.
like double meanings going on there.
Your
Maybe
hold on,
your
hold on.
friends knew one
Listen
meaning,
up.
and the others could mean another meaning.
As explained by a native Hebrew speaker, it is not. That is not correct. The pronunciation of the S is very important.
Again, like I said, it seems very fishy that they're even using that kind of like NASA. Why are they using that in the first place? They could have named it anything they wanted.
It means
why is there always this doubt?
It means to
There's
lift
this
up.
meaning and then there's that meaning.
So why are they using the word to lift up? Well, actually, yeah, and I'm sure Neriel is
Again,
going
there's two meanings to the word.
No, there's you are mispronouncing it. You don't get to do that in Hebrew. They get to pronounce their own words their own way, and they get to decide what NASA means, and they need to decide that NASA means to lift up, not to deceive. We don't get to tell them what it means. They know what it means because they were speaking it from birth, right? That is their first language. So I would not come to you and say something in Tamil and mispronounce it and then assign a meaning to it.
I'm actually sending you an actual image from an actual dictionary. Now I do respect your friends, and I'm sure there's different meanings, but this is an actual image from an actual dictionary, and I'll share it with you on Facebook real quick so that you make whatever you want with this. It just seems very funny that there's just so much double meaning to everything that NASA is doing. Are we agreed on that? At least,
No,
like NASA
not one bit, because you're mispronouncing NASA.
I'm not mispronouncing anything here.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying what I'm showing. Okay, I sent it to you right now. You can share it with your audience if you want right now.
Yeah, I've seen that, and it's the mispronunciation.
You have.
Yeah, there's that little V
Still,
above
the
the
spelling
S.
is the same.
No.
Do you see the spelling there? NASA.
Yeah, those are
What are
Latin.
the odds?
Those are Latin
Another
letters,
one?
not Hebrew letters. And so here, this is the cool thing is, and I don't have.
They could have meant Latin. What makes you think they only chose Hebrew? They could have just said, "Hey, let's use Latin." And
so they are. That's fine. They used Hebrew, and they used the word that means to lift up.
Yeah, or they could have used Latin and used it to mean something else.
So anyway, of course,
word.
that doesn't provide any evidence. So here's the deal. I have, it actually means National Aeronautics and Space Administration. It used to have a C in there instead. So
a very good coincidence, by the way.
It's coincidental that it means to lift up.
They could have named it American Space Agency. Wouldn't have meant anything, right?
They could have.
Yeah.
There's any number of things the committee probably went through. So,
but they chose that one in particular.
It means.
Really think about that.
I think that it's an acronym, and if you translate it to Hebrew, it means to lift up. So it probably is if they did look at it, it probably would be a really good idea, because what does NASA do? It launches rockets, which is lifting them up. That's pretty cool. I love that. So, you had asked about the sun being 93 million miles away.
By the way, can you ask Rama? Sorry, Rama wanted to know. Can you? He wanted proof that it means lift up, because we presented our proof. So it's you can present. Can you present yours, like an actual dictionary, like a?
Sure. Hold on.
Yeah.
I do. I'll.
See, we're that's an actual page from an actual and we have so many of them here, from actual scriptures or text, scanned images of pages.
Let's see. So it was directly from Neriel that he sent it, and I don't know exactly where he put it, and I unfortunately did not save it. So I'm seeing if I have something.
Oh.
No, that's not it. Oh, that's not even the right word. No, that's not it. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to find it. But how about this? Neriel, who probably will watch this later. Neriel, will you post in and I'll pin your comment. Describe to you, a native speaker, what NASA means to you in Hebrew. So, how about that? So you had asked about, and Flat Earth Jackal had asked about the sun being a certain distance, right?
93 million miles, according to you. And that's a fixed, by the way. This is what you're putting as fact.
It's not. It's yep, and it's been measured. So and it's
how?
Well, hold on. I have too many tabs open, people. You hear me clicking? I'm closing all these tabs. I seriously had like 50 just in this one. There we go. All right. Sun distance. So there's a bunch of different distances. One, different ways to calculate or measure the distance. Here is using the transit of Venus to determine the astronomical unit. A simple example. So here's from college. This is Professor Michael Richmond. So here he is using the transit of Venus. And so you can see here as it talks about Venus going across it here, and you're using parallax, right? I'm not going to get too much into the details here. The math does get complicated, but I will post this in the chat for people to have a look at later. So Flat Earth Jackal, go ahead and have a look. Rama and Santosh, you can have a look there. If you have a problem with the math, then you go ahead here.
So this is your math here?
Yeah, it is complicated here. So here, let's see.
Wow.
That's now.
I just find it very odd that the sun and the moon coincide perfectly.
They don't
But you're
coincide
telling me
perfectly
that
though.
in the total eclipse.
But they don't.
Of course they do.
No.
Yes, they do. Would you like me to show you video evidence of that, or photographic evidence
All right.
of total eclipse of the sun and the moon?
All right. Here, let me.
That's been
all right,
documented?
you did bring this up before. The angular. Do you know what angular size means?
Yeah, to an extent.
To an extent. All right. So the sun, as viewed from the Earth, varies in angular size between 31 arc minutes, 31 arc seconds, to 32 arc minutes, 33 arc seconds. And the moon varies from 29 arc minutes, 20 arc seconds, all the way up to 34 minutes and 6 seconds. They both vary, and they are not exactly the same size. They're close, but they're not exact.
So this is your explanation for the total eclipse, is it?
No, this was stating the facts about the angular size of the sun and moon that you claimed were exactly the same size. They're not exactly the same size. They're close.
Okay, so how does a total eclipse happen? Please explain that to me.
Well, if at the time the moon is in the part of its orbit where its angular size is larger than the angular size of the sun, because the angular size of the moon gets 2 arc minutes, not quite 2 arc minutes, bigger than the angular size of the sun at its extreme. So it can be bigger, and it can be smaller. And so you can find examples of eclipses where you can see the entire outline of the sun around the moon. And there's times where you can find that the moon completely obscures the sun. And at different eclipses, at different times, we see these different amounts.
I agree that like sometimes it's just like a partial eclipse, but they do both seem very close in size.
They are very close in size, absolutely.
Well, hold on, no. You guys say that the sun is like 1,000,000 times larger than the Earth, and the moon is just a quarter of the size, and yet these two beautifully coincide.
So,
like perfectly.
Are you saying that
almost
because they're coincidentally nearly the same size, it proves something? Please continue.
Yeah, I'm just going with observation.
No, but you're making a claim about the coincidence of them having some meaning. So please enlighten us on what this means.
It just means like you can't have it both ways. Okay, you can't have a total solar eclipse and still have the sun like 1,000,000 times larger than Earth, and the moon only a quarter of the size of the Earth, and incredibly different distances. One is 93 million miles away, and the moon is 200 and something thousand kilometers away. And now they're saying it's within the Earth's atmosphere. God knows what that all is.
Stay on topic, though, okay? So you
can't have it all.
All right, so continue. Please tell us why that doesn't work.
It assumes that you're just assuming that the heliocentric model is true.
No,
and then you add calculations.
Get back up. You made a claim that because they're a certain size, they're not possible. please support that
It's not.
claim.
The odds are zero for something that's one thing that's that huge and one thing that's that tiny to perfectly coincide
But
with
they
each other.
don't
Even if they
perfectly.
miss by a little bit, they both appear the same size. When you go out and you look at the sun, it does not look like it's like whatever they say, a million times the size of Earth, or I don't know. It's almost like they're just making up numbers at this point.
I'm getting the feeling that you don't know.
Well, I'm trying to explain it to you in the best way I can, like
But
just
it sounds like you don't know.
simple observation. You're going into very theoretical things, like gravity, for example. It's still a theory.
Okay, stay on topic.
Buoyancy
Stay
and
on
density.
topic. Stay on topic. All right.
No. I'm just comparing.
You're going all over the place on different topics. You made
I'm
a
just
claim.
comparing. Okay.
You made a claim, right?
Yes.
That because of the coincidental sizes being so close that it's impossible. Please support that claim.
Because the sizes are so grossly different, the odds are very less. That's all I can say. That's the truth.
So, argumentum ad small coincidence.
Small coincidence. I mean, the coincidence is unlikely.
All right. So
And
here is the solar eclipse glossary. Thank you, Geistview. There you see the totality eclipse there on the left, and a partial, which would be because you're not in the right viewing position. And then you see on the right side an annularity, or an annular eclipse, where at the time the angular size of the moon is smaller than the sun. So there's the range in sizes. So they're not coincidentally identical. They're coincidentally not identical.
They're coincidentally not identical.
Yes.
But
they're
but
not
to the average
identical in
human eye,
size.
no. I mean, but to the average human eyes, like if you show that to a child, like, hey, does the sun and the moon
But we're
look
not
kind of like the
children.
same symbol?
But we're not children.
You have to explain things because you're putting this in the school books here, and children are learning this. Okay, it's adults that create this information, right?
Sure.
It's not you choose to believe NASA, and
But this isn't NASA. This all was pre-NASA, right? So
pre-NASA. Okay.
Everything about the heliocentric model can be described previous to 1940. That the details of it. But we don't need to talk about NASA. This isn't from NASA. This website is aas.org. This isn't from NASA.
Since you wanted to go to pre-NASA, did you know all the ancient civilizations, all of their maps are actually closer to the firmament?
But is that evidence of accuracy? Do they have an accurate map?
It certainly seems they base their foundation on observation, whereas NASA and all these people seem to be all about calculations and fitting things where they need
are
it.
Based on observation. You make an observation, then you do a calculation. They'll go hand in hand, right? So
how could you possibly observe two massive bodies like the sun and the moon that look almost identical, and then somehow have I don't know what kind of imagination to think that the sun is so much bigger and the moon is so much smaller? Like, who started it? Everything starts from observation, right? Yeah. Nobody just starts to write.
So just because they're similar size, what evidence is that for that they're similar size?
Photographic evidence, for God's sakes.
No.
Video evidence.
You're making a claim that because they're a certain size, they must be something. What are they if they're the same size? Just saying, what are the chances that they're the same size?
First of all.
Therefore what?
Therefore, they're more or less the same size. It's nothing.
So you have no point to them being the same size. Okay.
What do you mean you don't have a point?
Well, you're like, what are the chances that they're the same size? And you're like,
yeah,
I don't have a point to that. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Can you show me in real life an example of a giant ball and a tiny ball somehow magically at a certain distance become the same size.
It's not magic.
Almost.
It's just what happens because of different sizes and distances. It's not that complicated. But because you don't do the math, it seems like magic to you. It's not magic. It's just simple math. It's 8th grade math.
You're going to math. I'm just going by observation. I'm just going by a 5-year-old going out and seeing a total eclipse.
But we're
and
adults.
Saying, hey, the sun and moon are the
Let's
same
not
size.
act like 5-year-olds. Let's act like adults, and let's measure.
But we're
things.
teaching 5-year-olds
No,
this
I'm not.
globe
This
model.
isn't for 5-year-olds.
We
And when
were
we teach
taught this globe model since we were 5 years old. The truth, weren't we taught this globe model since we were 5 years old?
But we weren't telling them the angular size. We weren't getting into the.
No, you just told them this is the globe. This is what we were all told. This is what we've all been indoctrinated.
But so far you've not actually shown anything that didn't match.
Match what?
It
Nothing
didn't
matches
match
the globe model at all.
Everything matches the globe model, and nothing matches. Look,
the simple observation does not add up to prove the globe model.
Right here.
Simple observation.
This simple observation.
I showed you 108,000 feet looks completely flat. I show you the sun and the moon, same size. That's how the solar.
You showed me 100,000 feet looking concave, not flat.
Oh, come on.
You didn't actually show flat.
And I showed you a terrible image of NASA that looks horrible, like wide angle, some nonsense that makes Florida look giant.
But
you said that's okay.
But you didn't have any evidence why that was wrong.
Proving something I'm just going by observation here, and
so maybe observation works for a 5-year-old, and maybe that's all that you are able to do. But the rest of us can actually do more than just look at something and say it looks this way. We can actually think about it. We can measure it. We can calculate. We can predict. We can form a hypothesis. We can test the hypothesis. We can see if that hypothesis is correct. Then we can make a conclusion on it and say, all right, what next thing can we test from that is similar to this so we can build our knowledge? That's not what a 5-year-old can do. Absolutely. I don't expect them to do science like that.
You have to be able to explain things so that even a 5-year-old can answer.
No,
or
I
you
don't
indoctrinate.
No, I don't have to.
Okay.
I don't have to explain things that are complicated to a 5-year-old. I'm not going to do that. And in fact, there's a whole lot of things.
Showing them the globe.
I'm not.
The minute they enter this class, they are shown the globe.
But that's not an argument for anything. Just because it's complicated doesn't mean you shouldn't show them the results of the complicated thing. People drive in cars that are complicated and they don't understand how they work. You show a car to a 5-year-old. He doesn't understand how it works. It doesn't matter. Get in the car, we're driving to school.
No. Listen, a car is a man-made object, okay? It was created by a man. There are some things like nature that we don't fully understand. But you're just kind of like, you're making the assumptions that you know everything because NASA told you. And then I show you all the nonsense that NASA does with the composites and, dirty words in their clouds and God knows what. And this guy saying,
and 15,
and then this guy,
and I provided
15,000
pictures that were taken on an analog camera, right?
But again, they're from NASA, the same people.
That do what?
You're trusting the same people who said it was composite. Do you understand where we're getting at?
It was a composite picture. They're not trying to hide that.
But then you say it's real all of a sudden.
I'm saying there's no evidence that it's not real.
But they've said it's composite.
One picture. So throw out that picture. Let's not talk about that picture anymore because it's a composite, right? Every other picture that they say is real picture, let's talk about them instead. Okay? I allow you. That picture's fake. We won't use that as evidence for the globe Earth. Now, we have 15,000 other pictures. What do you think?
Oh my God.
What do you think about those 15,000 others?
What makes them real? How do you know that they're not fake?
That's a great question. Go look at if you don't believe that they're real, you can go look at them in the
I don't believe that they're real because I don't have to. If somebody
But
creates a
you
forgery,
have no evidence that they're not real.
if
That's
somebody
the key
creates
thing.
a fake $100 bill and then says, "Oh, but all the other stuff I created are all real," would you believe that person? It's kind of like it makes no sense. It's like you caught them red-handed,
you're
and they're
poisoning.
telling
So
you.
this is a poisoning the well fallacy is what you're doing there, because a person lied once that you think lied, right? That's not even a lie. They're being honest and forthcoming with it.
Visualizer.
Because
Data
you
visualizer.
don't like it, because they said something you don't like once, you can trust nothing from them, right?
Yeah. Pretty much.
So have you ever lied?
National
Santosh, have you ever lied?
I've lied, yeah.
Okay, so nothing you say is allowable by your standard. That's your standard.
Again, this has nothing. This is not a person. I'm not talking about a person. This is an organization.
Oh, it's different rules
that's been
for an
around
organization.
For decades.
So, all right, do you have like, but you've only identified one thing that they were honestly telling people is not a single image. So you actually haven't identified one lie yet, right? But of course, the thing is.
And another thing, by the way, the one that they said was composite and all the stuff that you claim is real all look the same.
Super. They did a good composite. So what?
But again, you're saying it's composite. You say it's real, and then you say it's composite.
I never said that the 2007 blue marble was real. I know it's made up of multiple different images. They said that themselves. There's no claim, there's no lie, there's no problem with what they said. They were forthcoming with it the whole time. So you have no evidence of them lying. That's the real key thing.
No evidence that they're saying the truth.
Oh, well, there's 15,000 analog pictures that you can go look at. So here's the deal. We don't even need to look at NASA though for any of this stuff. They're not the only ones that have this, and we knew the Earth's shape long before NASA, and we had quantified all of it long before NASA, right?
Yeah.
And
you say so. I can show you ancient civilizations, and they were very intelligent, by the way.
But were they right? What evidence? That's not evidence. Saying that somebody had a map or thought that something existed a certain way in the past doesn't mean anything. People used to think that the Earth was on turtles. Is that evidence that the Earth was on turtles? No, of course not. I have for fun. I have a little turtle that my wife crocheted there on underneath the globe. That is not evidence for anything saying old civilizations had these things that they thought. Actual evidence would be something, right? So you brought up pictures from high altitude of concave of Earth with a curve the wrong way, right? And claimed it was perfectly flat. It wasn't perfectly flat. It was curved the wrong way, right? You
looked pretty flat to me.
It was
maybe slightly
looked pretty
there,
flat.
but
So here's the deal: there's no measurement of that, right? Show him those
108,000 feet
pics.
up
What do you say
there?
in def mode? Def mode is saying something. Sorry. What'd you say, Santosh? I'm sorry.
Oh no, sorry. No, I mean, 108,000 feet. You would expect to start seeing the actual globe, but you don't.
But what we know is that the fisheye, the lens was enough of a fisheye that it was distorting everything. So I showed you.
NASA's using worse fisheye.
Exactly. So ignore all of those high altitude pictures and instead look at the picture that had an actual straight edge right next to the horizon.
And it seems to go from one point to, and then they just make it composite, all of it composite. They show you a footage.
There's one
that's
composite.
Extremely fisheye, and then it goes to, I don't know, analog. You say it's analog.
But you're back to NASA. I'm saying forget NASA. We don't need NASA. But
all your arguments are based on NASA.
No, not at all. When we calculated right here, when we calculated the testing flat Earth to see if the sun could ever set. I didn't bring NASA into that. When I got pictures of the horizon not rising to eye level, none of that was from NASA. Right? Those were my 2 points today. It was Dubé's claim that and it's Samuel Rowbotham's claim that the horizon always rises to eye level, but it doesn't ever when measured, right? And I did, how many did I bring? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different independent measurements of the horizon not rising to eye level. And I asked you for one, and I know you didn't have any, and maybe you'll find some, but I've asked flat earthers before, and never once has a flat earther ever brought a measured rising to eye level of the horizon. Not once. And, right? So typically what happens is they say, yeah, the horizon rises to eye level, and I show measurements that it doesn't. They say, well, maybe it doesn't.
Well, it is called eye level. You know, I mean, my eye sees
you think
it.
Semantics
Looks pretty
games can get you out of that bag? So let's
eye
see
level.
here. This map, this is an interesting map. So here's an ancient civilization map. A map from an ancient civilization. Is that map accurate?
I am curious though. Why does the UN use the flat Earth map, the AE map?
Because
Kind of curious.
Well, it's a great question. It's so that there is no one country in the middle, right? If you used if you used the United States in the middle, then people would say, "Hey, how come the U.S. is in the middle?" If you used if you put Europe in the middle, how come that's in the middle? So, hey, Simon Dan, how you doing? So, Santosh, maybe you could tell me if you were going to create an organization that had many, many countries all over the world in it, and you wanted to have a map for your logo, what map would you choose? Oh, I think he dropped out. It went silent. Oh, he's messaging me here. Oh, he says he lost the connection. Oh, it's been a while. All right, stop letting it deflect. It's Norway. What's Norway and Sweden? Oh yeah, this is a map of Norway and Sweden. Yeah, ancient civilizations didn't have accurate maps, so. Asking him if he wants to come in. Maybe it's good enough. So it was the incredulity show, and of course, incredulity is the center. Well, let me go for a little different camera view here. Incredulity is the free space in the middle of the bingo here, but I got it down here on this side here. We got dome firmament, fake, dismissing evidence outright, bad math, and fisheye. So I got my bingo there. Okay, he says he's coming back in. So you can use the same link. All right. John Rapp, I got dizzy with the circular logic and lost my place in the FE handbook. Oh. Gary Wybenga, a spot just opened up for you. What did Mandelbrot set? So, there. Hey, Santosh.
Hey. Yeah, just use the old link.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? We were kind of getting through stuff. Here's what I'll do. I'll post in there's a couple other things I'll put in the chat here.
Okay.
For the sun's distance, I'm not going to go over it. Transit of Venus method. There it is. Cassini method using Mars opposition is a really good video from Cool Hand Luke, maybe. Did that paste? Yeah, that's a good one. A long time ago. This is translated from Latin. It was done. Transit of Venus method. So basically, they use parallax. And one more here: the comparison between the Cassini method and the Flamsteed method. So a lot of it is parallax and geometry to calculate the distance, but I'm not going to go over that right now. People can look at it. So if flat whatever Jackal or Flat Earth Jackal or Santosh wants to look at that math, you feel free, go ahead and
Sure.
provide some some detailed here's why it's wrong instead of I don't like it so it's wrong, right? So anyway, thank you very much, Santosh. It was good.
No problem. Thank
you're a nice
you.
guy, and if you're in Minneapolis, let me know, and if I'm ever in Ottawa,
I will.
let me know, and we can say
We should
hi.
definitely meet up for coffee.
Yeah. I will be next week at the Flat Earth Global Convention in Dallas. I didn't put that up. I was sorry. Flat Earth Global Convention in Dallas, Thursday and Friday. So I don't suppose you're going to be there, but Travis from the Plain Truth was going to be there, and I know a bunch more are. Surface saying, did I see the definition on? Oh yes, the definition of NASA. All right. I might as well put this up quick, because you did ask for it, and it is clear right here. There it is. NASA, NASA, pronunciation NASA. So that's the key, because the other one is NASHA, which is a different word. And there's the Hebrew Shem, which looks like a W. There's a diacritic mark on it, and it changes the pronunciation of it. So right there, NASA, to lift, bear up, carry, or take. Right, to be lifted, be exalted, to lift oneself up. Right. So there you go, and I'll put this in the chat as well. There you go. Oh yeah. Cosmonaut 6 is saying you should join our Discord server. So if you are, have you ever been on a Discord server? Feel free to join, and we can continue talking on the Discord server. We try not to have a bad environment there, right? So, did you freeze again? Oh, he froze again. I hear ya. There, you're back.
I keep coming in and out.
Your connection's a little bit bad. So anyway, I have a Discord server. If you want, you can join. Cosmonaut 6 just did it. It's also in the description of all my chats or all my videos. So
I'm gonna join that.
Yeah, and we have respectful conversations there. So.
Oh yeah, I loved it. It was like it's 1 o'clock night here, so
yeah, it's late for me here too. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Oh, no problem.
And so
my pleasure.
I'm gonna go out here. So anyway, everybody, thank you very much for watching. And if you just a second, Santosh, I'll talk to you a second after. If you like this, click like and subscribe, and click the bell, and all that good stuff. If you have comments, feel free to comment. If you want to join the Discord server, go ahead and do that. And I will see, I don't know about next week for sure if I'm going to have a Tuesday live stream, because I will be in Galveston that night. So people are saying Jam Truth for DFOTY. I don't know. Riley is he's working it hard. And my favorite has been that guy, but I think he's a pretty far back. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time.